Wow! Wowzy! How's everybody doing?
I'm doing good, thanks.
I'm very tired.
I just slept 14 hours, so I am feeling refreshed.
Man, fuck you, Spazzy.
I've been sleeping so much this week. I think I'm anemic. It's crazy.
I don't think that's not how that works. That's not how anemia works.
That's true.
Don't tell him how anemia works. He's anemic. Jesus.
There's a history. There's a history of it in my family, so I'm maybe. If you think it, you probably have it.
That's how disease works, actually.
That is how it works.
God, I've been coughing up a lung all week. I think I have leprosy. Oh.
About time.
It's like WebMD. As long as you believe it, you have it.
Is that the tagline for WebMD? WebMD.
WebMD. Slight head cold or cancer. It's one or the other.
Are you ready to have a stroke?
Oh, genius! Yes.
You will be. Anyway.
Man, look at all these games I've never played that are just piling up next to my systems.
That's my entire wall in my basement. Are you kidding me? You can see it in
Look at this, Mega Man 11, Resident Evil 7. Look at all these great games.
You guys have way too much money. I can't believe this. I am pissed off.
You know what it is? You know what it is? This is what I tell people. Because I actually do have... I don't like flexing about this at all, because I'm actually embarrassed about it. But I actually have, like, a AVGN-style fucking wall of games where I just have, like, a million shelves with, like, old video games on them. And the reason being... The reason being is because I bought all of my old video games back in, like, the late aughts. Oh. When they were all dirt cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, like, back then, you could get a NES for, like, a penny. Plus, like, the original Gold Cart Zelda for $2 and, like, Mario for 50 cents. Like, you could get games super cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually kind of incredible how back then there was a lot of games I skipped out on because I was like, $30 is too much for Wild Guns. But now it's like, oh, well, should have done it instead of the $300 it's worth now.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a great time, by the way, to beef up on your PS3, Wii, and Xbox 360 collections. Because
and also PS2. PS2 is still... Stocks are down. It's time to...
But it's funny because GameCube can get a little pricey still. But
at the same time, though, I feel like, I mean, this is going into a whole other topic. I feel like now's the time to start investing in like flash carts and just like hard drives, because those are gonna work out far better in the long run. Like you're gonna be able to buy a laptop drive in like 50 years, probably, like, totally fine.
Colin.
Yeah?
What if I want a boxed copy of Earthbound?
I'm so sorry. It's time to get that mortgage taken out.
It's time to take out the third mortgage on my house.
I have a copy of Earthbound, and it's not in the box, but I do have the box. But I don't know where either of them are. I bought them... This is a story I tell all the time because I think it's hilarious. I was in high school... Yeah. And Earthbound was a game that I think, like, in middle school I had rented from Blockbuster and said, this game is neat. I got to, like, where you get to Jeff and I'm all like, this game drags. I like it, but I'm not going to keep playing it. And then, so I'm going to Best Buy and they have, like, an end cap on an aisle just filled with copies of Earthbound for $20.
Oh, my God.
Nice.
And I picked up two, one for myself and then one for a friend, because I'm like, this is a stupid cheap present. I'm like, this game's okay. And I played it. I actually played through it. I ended up loving the game. But it's funny because even back then I'm like, man, I should pick some of these up and then just try to like flip them because like so cheap. I'm like, yeah, but who's ever gonna buy a copy of Earthbound?
You know that Hard Times
and nobody
article?
Did.
You know that Hard Times article where it's like Earthbound fan gets ready to play Earthbound for the first time? That was like me when the Wii U release came out, because I was like, man, this game's gonna be so fucking good when they release it.
And then it was.
Yeah, it is.
It is, but it definitely has its problems. I actually like it better than Mother 3 because I feel like it's more about like the embodiment of like kids' imaginations and journeys and just like going out against the world. It's more of an adventure, and I feel like Mother 3 can be just as good of a game, and I understand why some people like it better. But I feel like that falls a little bit more into like tropey JRPG story type stuff. It has more of a story, and that's why people like it. But I kind of like Earthbound more because it doesn't. But no, the game definitely has its problems. The difficulty spikes in it are random as hell, and like there's some areas that are way too long.
Yeah,
like the game itself, the pacing is bad.
When I first played it, that was something I was really worried about because I hadn't really played a JRPG before, except for like Mario and Luigi. And I was wondering, how bad is the difficulty in this game? Am I like gonna be able to get through it? And then it turned out to be okay for the most part. But it's really more about the story than it is about the game because it's really not all that interactive. You
Earthbound
mostly just
is
walk around
like,
and click on things.
Earthbound is like super style over substance, but the substance also happens to be really good, which is what kind of holds it up. A good example of style over substance is Earthbound 1. It is Earthbound Beginnings.
Oh,
Mother,
Jesus.
because that game is like all style, but at its core, it's still like a super grind-happy RPG.
That game is not a what's the word? Well-designed game, like at all.
Mother 1 is like a relic, but also I feel like it's the best one as a core experience. Like it's the best laid out as a core experience.
It's the most Mother of the Mother games. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
It had my favorite commercial in the series.
Yeah, if they like redid Mother 1 and they updated all the systems and made it a little less grindy, I think it'd be the best one.
Yeah. They pretty much like Earthbound 2, by the way, I'm a little sick, that's why I'm like coughing up a lung every 3 seconds. But Earthbound,
He has leprosy.
I keep saying, God damn it. Earthbound kind of gets the whole grinding thing right by after a certain point, you just run into enemies and they instantly die and you just move on with your life. That's a good system. That's a really good system. I really like that. The only copies of anything Mother related I have is I have a Japanese copy of Mother 2. I have like a NES repro of Mother, or Earthbound Beginnings, whatever the official name is now. I have a repro Mother 1+2 cart for the GBA, and I have a repro Mother 3 cart for the GBA.
When they finally do, and I feel like they will in some form release Mother 3 eventually, it's going to get a new name, and it's really going to, I feel like, screw with the fan base.
It's going to be called Earthbound 2.
Ooh, that's such a bad name.
It is a bad name, but like that's unless they call it Earthbound Futures.
I think they're gonna call it Earthbound Endings.
Yeah, something like that.
That makes sense. Yeah, like I feel like it's got to be Earthbound subtitles.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Earthbound has a subtitle. It's the War for
the Return of
Gigas.
Yeah.
The Return of Gigas.
Undertale /
Or no, it's the
Deltarune
War
is
against
basically-
Gigas, right?
I
Yeah.
don't know
It's the
about
War
that
against
one.
Finally back again at last. I've missed you so long.
I don't know if I agree with Undertale Deltarune being the Earthbound of today. It takes inspiration, but it's not the
It
same
is.
thing.
It's its own
Yeah.
experience and its own property. And of course, people are always going to want to make parallels to everything that came before it. And a lot of times it's a sign of respect, but I think it stands on its own.
Although, if I Google games like Earthbound, I wonder what it'll Huh.
No, you'll get that one Atlas. What was it? Citizens of Earth.
Okay, no, this is
Remember
this
that?
Yeah, that game was awful. I only played the demo. Maybe the actual maybe the full game was the most amazing game in the world. I can't say, but based off that demo, that game sucked.
Yeah.
What about that game that came out like late last year or earlier this year that was about like an indie game developer, like TIFF? I know that's not what it was called, but it was like, called
Y2K.
Y2K, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the thing is, it's like a toy is his identity is so baked into the Mother games that you can't really make like anything else that takes kind of inspiration from it's not going to really resonate the same way.
Listen,
it can be just as good in a different way, but it's not going to really.
Undertale.
The thing is, I think for a lot of games, you know, that we were talking about,
played
like
Undertale.
Citizens of Earth or the Turf one that we talked about Y2K, excuse me. It does. They also, because of the nature of Earthbound and how it works, it inherently is going to show off a lot of the personality of the developer. But with Itoi, it's okay. This is his personality. This is the personality of a man who believes this, this, and this. With all these other games, it's like this is the personality of an Earthbound fan. This is what they are. But except for Toby Fox, okay.
Earthbound's weird because it's like this like oddly very American Japanese game.
Well,
yeah, I love that.
The thing about Earthbound is a lot of the experience non-Japanese fans have with it is not actually communicating with Itoi. It's communicating
with yourself. Yeah, your experience. I read an article about how in Japan it's very clear that people are like, oh, it's just that, you know, Ness's father's, you know, always working because of the Japanese work culture. That's why he's not around. A lot of people in the West identify it as kind of a broken home. Like, oh, like obviously the parents, a lot of people think, oh, are the parents divorced? Is that why the dad's not around, but the dad still wants to be involved in his life? And you kind of, that's actually kind of part of the magic of Earthbound is that you can read a lot of your own personal experiences. Yeah. But also, if you do Google games like Earthbound, Mother 3, Mother 1 and 2, then Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Super Mario RPG, and Undertale, and of course Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Well, I mean, these aren't bad recommendations.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, if we're gonna go with
you should play all of those things.
I'm a real big fan of Smash Bros. Brawl.
If we're gonna go with like a Square RPG that's like similar in aesthetic, wouldn't Secret of Evermore?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
But the thing about Secret of Evermore is that the stage design and dungeon design is awful.
Also,
Man.
nobody knows about it because this is the first time I've heard about this game.
Really?
Have you never played Secret of Evermore? Okay, basically, I think, wasn't it actually developed by a Western like subsidiary of Square using the Secret of Mana engine?
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember when it came out, it's all like, this is like what what a Western company would do with the Secret of Mana engine. Because it was still a SquareSoft game. And it's all like, yeah, it's some guy, some generic white guy and his dog. And you're like,
about time. Finally.
Hell yeah.
So it's actually a really funny game, and I think there's a mad scientist involved. It's very Doc and Marty at points.
Cool.
Yep.
It's not a bad game. It's just not like a classic JRPG. I would say, like, if you have a list of 20 JRPGs on the Super Nintendo, it would probably be on there because that system had a lot of JRPGs.
This isn't really a JRPG, but you just reminded me of ActRaiser, and I love that game.
ActRaiser's good. I've never played ActRaiser 2. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's not really worth it.
All right, that's probably why.
That's all right. Now,
I've also I also like to say Terranigma is my favorite JRPG, just because that's like the most like hipster video game nerd thing you can say.
that's
I mean, it's okay, but it's no Terranigma.
I could one up that by saying, well, if I wanted to be extra weeby, I could say like something from the Yeast series, or personally, Sweet Home.
Sweet Home's really good. If you want to be really weeby, you mention one of the like Tales of something,
and then you just go Fantasia,
and then one of those, and then you just mention it's either a Japanese only title on the PS1 or something on the PS2 that the fans act like it's really still relevant today. Like, I remember back when Smash 4 was coming out and people were like, man, no, fuck Pac-Man, let's put in Lloyd Irving. And it's like, I think come on. Like, with all due respect, like, come on.
The JRPG that I think I have the most nostalgia for, and it's one that I played through recently, and it doesn't hold up in some aspects, and I know why it doesn't hold up, is Secret of Mana. Because I'm a little bit older than you guys. I'm in my, a little to a lot bit older than you guys, because I'm in my 30s.
50s.
And I played, like, so Link to the Past when I was a kid was my jam. I loved that game. Like, I beat that game so many times trying to, like, be like, there has to be more to do. Because this was a time where, like, there weren't a million Zelda clones out. There weren't a million Zelda games. You know, you played what you had, and you're like, I need another experience like this. So I'm looking, and, you know, it's an action RPG, so it has a similar kind of isometric top-down, you know, view, and you go around and you slash things with your sword and you explore. And prior to that, I had played Final Fantasy on the NES a little bit, like at a friend's house, but I'd never got into the genre. I played, I think, Dragon Warrior a little bit as well. But through Secret of Mana, because it was similar to, because it had action like Zelda, I got really into, and then I could change my equipment. Like, I was having a tough-ass time in that game because I didn't realize that you could equip, like, armor until, like, the third boss, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so much easier now. I'm so much stronger than I was. But yeah, like, so I learned kind of about that, and then I went back and I played Final Fantasy III. It just came out, and I fell in love with that game. And then that started kind of my love affair with JRPGs that lasted until we were inundated with too many crap ones in the PS2 era. So...
That's all right.
But yeah, no, I love that game, and if you don't know anything about the development of that game, that was actually a Nintendo PlayStation game originally. It was supposed to be for the CD add-on. So they basically had completed most of the game, and then the Super Nintendo CD wasn't a thing anymore, so they had to go back and retrofit it into a cart. So they cut out like the entire second half of the game, and like. You know, just so it's kind of, it's one of those things, like, I'd love to one day get, like, the complete experience of that, because you can see how, like, the first half of the game has so much more dialogue and things happening, and then all of a sudden it's all like, okay, now let's go kill the thing.
All right. Who developed that, by the way? Was it Enix? Was it Square?
That was a Squaresoft game.
Yeah.
They made a lot of different good ones back on the SNES. A lot of them.
My
They made a lot of good ones back on the PlayStation, too. They debatably make some good ones today, you know.
Debatably. Well, ShadowLink, you were saying something.
Yeah, Matt, say a word.
My favorite JRPG is Shin Megami Tensei 4, but I want to talk about how games get cut up, because I just remembered, based on a recent interview, the Madman Suda51 says that like 68% of the original scripts for Killer 7 wasn't used. And that one day they'd like to make a full version of Killer 7 with all the content.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck? We only have a third of the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like how Half-Life 2 has like 20 hours of extra story they had planned, and then it just like isn't there. And the like the final game is like 8 hours long.
Reminds me of a certain Phantom Pain that I'm feeling right now.
Oh, yeah. The Phantom Pain was the game all along.
It's true. It's true.
It is true.
I still think about it.
I still think about how I played Peace Walker and said, I like this. And then I got to like the second half of Peace Walker and I said, I don't like this. I hope they don't do this again. And then they did it again.
Peace Walker...
I was like, fuck off. Like, why did you do this?
Peace Walker, in my opinion, is maybe the least of the gameplay in terms of the series, because there are you'll have stealth missions and they'll be good and whatever, so on and so forth. But then whenever you have to fight against a machine or something like that, especially in the earlier mission, it takes forever. And then especially in the early, they really designed those parts around the multiplayer.
Yeah, they really wanted you like you and 3 friends ganking it at any moment.
Yeah, but if you're a loser and you don't have friends who play Metal Gear, that's a problem.
Yeah, but see, not every game's for everyone. There are some games that aren't for people without friends. It's just
yeah, like Mario Party. If you don't have any friends and you own a Mario Party, I'm sorry.
You have a pretty good time if you turn everybody to computers.
Yeah, you gotta put everyone on easy and just watch. It's really fascinating.
It's pretty cool.
Wow, that is the saddest evening. What are you doing this Saturday? I'm playing single player Mario Party. It's gonna be great.
You can stream it and have people put in money for bets, you know?
On whether you're gonna lose to the computer?
No.
Just computers only. Got
Yeah.
it. So, as far as Metal Gear goes, here's one of those gamer shame things, but not really because I don't care about if you think about me. I loved Metal Gear Solid. One of my favorite when it came out. Top 3 like PlayStation game for me. Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, you don't play as Snake. I don't care about this guy. I'm not going to play this game. So I never played Metal Gear Solid 2. Played 3 and loved it. Those are the only Metal Gear Solid games I've ever played.
That's fine.
Don't worry.
Those
are the only 2 you need to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like I wasn't missing much. I'm like, these seem good. I'm always tempted to. Oh no, I bought Metal Gear Solid 4, but my PlayStation 3 disc reader died, and I didn't care enough to get a new one.
I'll say
Metal
this
Gear
much.
Solid 2 is like a meta experience. I don't think it's a very good game on its own.
I'll say this
But
much:
like,
Metal Gear Solid
1 and Metal Gear Solid 3 are like really, really good.
Metal Gear Solid 2 holds up like now, way more than it did when it first came out.
I personally,
Yeah, that's fair.
of course, I love the whole series. I'm wearing Metal Gear Solid dog tags right now, and
Wow.
I think it's pretty unanimous that people usually regard the first 3 as the best, and they are usually the personal favorite of everybody for different reasons. One, I think, is a little bit more set piece heavy. I think, it's much more of an adventure game than a stealth game. It's kind of like Zelda, because you're constantly, like, the game's throwing new stuff at you and new gimmicks pretty constantly. Metal Gear Solid 3 just lets you go in and gives you all these different stealth options, and it's really so good. Metal Gear Solid 2, personally, is, like, one of my favorite games ever, because it is just... The topics that they talk about are things that I am very personally invested in. It's the only Metal Gear game, or I think maybe one of the only video games where I actually cried at the ending, which is weird because generally with most people they cry at the ending of 3, but with me it was 2. It was it's very important one to me. I love it a lot.
I love when Metal Gear Solid games just randomly in interludes have like little poignant social messages that like may not actually have anything to do with the game. They're like, have you realized how many plastic straws are thrown out every year in the United States, Snake? And you're like, no, but go on, Colonel. Tell us.
These are important things for our nation, okay? So I don't need you to come in here and be a disrespectful little punk about it. Now,
I couldn't cry at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3 because my 3DS was dying and I had to plug it in. I'm kidding.
No, I had
That is a
spoiled
collection
for me.
that needs to be in.
On the Switch? I agree.
Switch like
Have you guys? Can we talk about our Lord and Savior, the 3DS port of Snake Eater? Can we talk about that?
I've actually not played it.
I haven't played it either. I only played the original.
Oh, Matt left because he fucking hates the 3DS port of Snake Eater.
Is it that bad?
No, it's not.
It's not that
weird.
bad. It's very much a mixed bag because they gave it essentially Peace Walker controls where you could move around while shooting and you could do like the crouch walk and everything like that.
All right. Here's
thing
how
is, the thing is like 15 frames per second.
Yeah.
It's like,
all right. Let me give you the lowdown. Here's the cons. 20 frames per second capped.
Yeah.
No matter what. That's just the physical
even with
frame rate.
3D on?
Yes.
It doesn't drop frame rate when 3D on. That's nice.
No,
it's locked at 20.
Yeah, it's locked at 20.
Which
Same
is
thing
like-
with Peace Walker on PSP, surprisingly enough. It's missing like all of the bonus content that Snake Eater usually has, though every HD collection is also missing the bonus content. So there's no Metal Gear 1 and 2. There's no Snake.
There's no
versus Ape.
Secret Theater. There's
there's
no
no Secret
Snake
Theater.
versus Monkey, so on and so forth.
But the pros is that
There's no pros.
yes, there is. Shut up. You have
There's no pros.
you have crouch walking, which breaks the fucking video game. You have like
Not a pro.
you have proper third-person controls.
They did completely redo like a lot of the graphics.
Yeah,
and
they
so
also
on and so
redid a
forth.
lot of the graphics.
And another great thing, you can make your own camouflage by taking a picture of
You
anything.
can break the game.
Yeah,
by
that
doing
also
that.
breaks the
and
game.
pretty much anything that you'll take a picture of will register as 100% camo, so you'll be invisible.
All you have to do is like slowly crawl, and your camo will stay at 100 the whole game, and you can just crawl at people's feet, and they'll not be able to know you're there.
I don't
Yeah.
see a problem with that.
Yeah, just turn up the difficulty, and then there you go.
Yeah, man. Listen, optional easy difficulty doesn't make a game worse, man. That's just for people that can't play Metal Gear now they can just.
Oh yeah, and they
crawl
replaced
slowly.
the frogs with Yoshis.
That's pretty good.
So you shoot a Yoshi, and it goes like, like fucking.
Here's another thing that's probably controversial to a lot of people. I really like Twin Snakes.
Oh no!
I
okay.
love the cutscenes in Twin Snakes.
Oh, yeah,
it's like he's a superhero. It's amazing.
I love.
Yeah, it's okay.
I love.
There's
the
a theory
rocket-
going around that Twin Snakes is Otacon's retelling of the event, which I think is a pretty apt.
There's also a
interpretation.
theory that Twin Snakes is the VR missions that Raiden played, and there's like
That's possible
hidden,
too.
There's a
Yeah.
hidden VR device you can find if you look up in like the tanker silo. So
Oh, really?
maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
No, it probably was.
You can tell it's Otacon's dreams because they replaced the 3DO with a GameCube, and clearly Otacon would be the one to replace his 3DO with a GameCube.
Yeah, but Otacon left in the part where he pisses himself. So
Right, but he's heard the rest of the story.
Yeah.
I honestly don't like. I know the controls are a little kind of break the game in some ways, and it's I don't know. I do. I really like that game. I don't have any issues with it.
I think
It's a
the AI
different
in that
experience.
game- the AI in that game like ruins it because most of Metal Gear 1 is about like the patterns, and instead all the AI just kind of walk about randomly.
Yeah.
the one thing I do like about Twin Snakes is that if you know where to go, you can completely skip the backtracking in the later half of the game.
That's true. That's true.
You just like drop down and get like boiled alive to make your card really hot, and then frozen alive to make your card really cold, and there you go.
That's really nice. You can only do one of those at a time, though, I believe.
Yeah,
correct?
you have to get one and then go back, and then get the other and then go back. But you have to do that anyway.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
you backtrack, you have to go back to the
Yeah.
specific section and then come back and then go back and then come back. It's a pain in the ass. Metal Gear Solid 1's fantastic, but that backtracking in the later half, like, whew.
Yeah, yeah. Most times there's a really great game that's a breakout from that's a breakout from the director, whoever made it. When it's the first in a series and it's really successful, there's almost always like problems to it. It's never ever the magnum opus. Perfect because the good parts outweigh the bad parts so much.
Speaking of Earthbound and literally perfect video games, so earlier this week was April Fool's Day,
Was it?
and we decided to have our one and only joke RTC with rate that character Paul McCartney. We've
Very cool.
we've had this in the running for about how many months? We planned this really far in advance.
I think what you mean is you've been threatening all of us with this
Yes.
for like half a year.
That's true. When we were in the Super Smash Brothers stream and we were all sweating in that hot room, I literally like pulled a gun on Spazzy and said, "Here's the deal."
And I said, yeah, anything. Let's just go out and get something to drink because
And-
this room is killing me.
And Phantom was crying in the corner.
That's
Oh,
good.
sorry,
That's
Phantom.
great.
You know I had to do it to him. But no, we I don't know. We I think
I
I had,
have scripts written for like 3 RTCs, but I'm too lazy to do the video work for them.
yeah, I have
And
I have a second Doom Guy RTC like ready to go.
Damn.
But no, like I I asked if we could do a rate that character Paul McCartney at least near the end of the Smash cycle, because like the biggest problem we had with rate that character and the reason why it kind of petered out instead of just like ending was the fact that the way that they revealed characters for Smash Brothers kind of made it really fucking difficult to keep doing it.
Yeah, but I'm kind of glad that they did, though, because in my opinion on the new Smash Bros. Game, at least in the development direction they're taking it, is with Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS, they really were just kind of doing more of the same. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Yeah. It really was just more characters, more stages, so on and so forth. And to their credit, they did add a bunch of other things, like amiibos and amiibo support, and a bunch of different stuff. But the main draw of it was the fact that there were so many new characters they added, and so many new stages they added, and the fact that there were 2 games. And with this one, I'm really glad that they're kind of taking a little step back, and it's more of a reflective game. It's more about celebrating the history of its own series, because in the past, Smash Bros. Was never really one to... It was modest. It would never really acknowledge itself as, you know, as important as everything else. But now for the first time, it's really acknowledging this is a not only a celebration of all these characters and franchises, but it is also a celebration of them being together. And that is what Smash Bros. Is.
It's kind of like if Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the PS1 and N64 was actually a good game.
That's controversial.
That what? No, do some people think that's a good game? It was. I
don't know. I've never played it.
It's not.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say it. It should have been but it's like if you have, let's say you have the concept of Ultimate, like let's bring like all of the stuff back from all of the games in the series up to this point.
Thank God.
But then you said, ooh, you know, that's a lot of work. Let's just like literally rip sprites from like half the games, just like throw them together and.
Oh, okay. But so it would be like Marvel 2. Just take every sprite ever. Well,
no, that's
I'm being a little harsh on Marvel 2.
Listen, Marvel 2 is going to take you for a ride.
Marvel 2 is great. I love Marvel 2. I love the whole series. It's great.
My favorite part about the Mortal Kombat trilogy, by the way, is the N64 version, because there's less memory on a cart than a CD, obviously. They said, ooh, what if we just combine both versions of Sub-Zero into one character and give him every one of Sub-Zero's moves?
Wow.
But so I don't know, we had this like back burner idea of there being like one of just like if there's ever a joke RTC, it's gonna be the Paul McCartney one. And I think we decided on that back in like November. And so just like every month it was like, yep, no, that's the plan. That's the plan. That's the plan. And then I don't like the final video. I'm really glad a lot of people like the final video, because I fucking hated it. I was like ready to just like throw it out and be like, yeah, let's not do an April Fool's this year. Mainly because despite the fact that like I actually edited a lot of the video earlier in the week, like, which is what I usually don't do. I usually do it super last minute. I ended up having to do like most of it last minute because I had to re-edit so much of it. Because there was like a big internal struggle between me and Push about, should I use this music? Should I not? So all the music you hear in the Rate That Character outside of the Earthbound track is me.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you're singing it?
Well, I'm not. Yes.
It's instrumentation, but he...
At the end, I am singing, but all of the instrument playing you hear is me. At like,
oh, really?
At like 1 in the morning.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
My hands were calloused as fuck, and I have like 7 recordings of me playing different Beatles songs on the bass. Like,
that's great. That's great.
I was gonna do. Oh yeah, nice. So you did it on the bass. I didn't even.
Well, yeah, that's
Paul.
yeah. That's why all the Rock Band footage is also just bass.
Yeah, clearly I wasn't paying attention to that RTC.
Yeah.
My idea for a joke RTC sounded like too much work, so I decided not to do it. Because at some point somebody said rate Starman, and I'm like, the hell do you mean Starman? So I'm like, let me just go and I'll.
Song?
But that's the entire joke. Is I was gonna start with Starman from Earthbound, and then just as I keep talking, just switch what Starman I'm talking about without like actually making it clear that I'm switching, and like talk about like Starman from Mega Man, and then the Bowie song, and then like that Jeff Bridges movie from 1986. Just keep talking about anything named Starman the entire time through. But I'm like, that seems like a lot of work.
That's pretty cool. Last year I wrote an article for April Fool's Day. It was Michael Scott, Dream Smasher, which I really liked for the most part. I'm happy with how it turned out for the most part. I was thinking of doing another April Fool's this year, but I never really got it together because I thought it would be a big waste of everybody's time. I was thinking it would be just a blob, specifically the Blob from the classic 1960s horror movie. And it would be essentially the most basic moveset that you could think of. Back air, Blob extends himself backwards. Forward air, Blob extends himself forwards. Up air, Blob extends himself upwards. It would just be the most basic thing. It would be like a test character, essentially. It would be so uncreative, purposefully.
So the morning of April Fool's, Colin was crying in the DMs to me about how his video was not turning out so great, and I threw out the suggestion that if he wasn't going to do it, I would edit in one night RTC the Quiet Man.
Because you know what it is? My thing was I wanted it to be a lot more jokey, and the final version is not jokey enough. But like, that's the thing that people ended up really liking, because it just comes off as a legitimate RTC.
Yeah.
Just about a character who has literally no there's no chance or bearing in Smash Brothers. So I think in the end I've sort of warmed up to it because I like the fact that people like it. I'm glad of that, but yeah, I had planned to do a little bit more with it and it didn't pan out.
You know what's kind of sad?
What?
So April Fool's, like every year, Blizzard like does like 4 or 5 different little stupid things for all
They
their
didn't do
games.
anything this year. Well, because we also got Diablo Immortal. They didn't need to. It was
no, they did. They always do like a patch, or no, they did like one thing for like a translator for the little Murloc things from Warcraft, like Nerdglish or whatever. But they did like one little joke, and they usually do a bunch. I'm like, oh, it sucks. And then I thought about it. I'm like, oh yeah, Activision Blizzard laid off 800 people that they didn't consider essential. I'm sure it was all of those people.
Yeah.
Pathetic. Sad.
Sad day.
I always think back to what Satoru Iwata did when things were getting rough. He took a pay cut, but I mean, hey, Blizzard is an American company, right?
It's a cultural thing. It really is.
Yeah. Why would I sacrifice any of my comfort when I could just make everybody else suffer instead?
Well, it wasn't the main American staff though. It was like the French and Russian divisions.
But it's still a Western thing.
They're still human beings, goddamn. Even if they are French or Russian.
They're human beings, even if they are French.
Did this just turn into Great Ace Attorney?
Oh, is that in Great Ace Attorney? There's like a racism thing going on?
Oh, there's a lot of racism going on.
If you ever wondered why those games haven't been localized, it's because they are horribly racist. It's like it's knowingly racist. Yeah. It's discussing issues of racism. It's not like racist because the creators are racist. No, of course. It's just exploring the kind of...
It's exploring the cultural divides of, like, Victorian-era the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking it would be great if there was a case where, like, Phoenix Wright defend... Well, I mean, they kind of already did that with Mia Fey in that one case with her client. That's spoiler territory, so I don't want to get into that. But yeah,
you know what?
I think that's actually pretty cool that they're doing that.
I'm always upset that Harvey Birdman game that was developed by Capcom and used the Ace Attorney
isn't good. Yeah,
isn't good. That literally had all of the ingredients to be a great game. It just wasn't.
Didn't Capcom also make the Aqua Teen Hunger Force
I never played it, so I
game?
wouldn't know.
The fucking weird ninja robot golf or whatever.
Yeah.
Possibly, because it seems like if they had the license for one, Adult Swim game, they'd probably have it for multiple
We got a
ones.
$2 super chat, and
Really? Thank you.
Papagenos.
Yes. Would SG
Oh.
ever consider Papagenos as a guest? Probably.
No.
Probably when we consider Marcus Sellers as a guest.
Listen, Papagenos is he's a nice guy though. Like he's
I
not.
do appreciate
and
these
like-
videos.
Here's the deal. Like it's not like you said, bring up Marcus Sellers. Marcus Sellers is just somebody that like is trying to profit off his own notoriety and make himself into a leaker and make shit up and just reports whatever he wants. Papagenos is just a guy that I feel like he really does like.
He does
Smash.
care. He does care about this stuff, and he's stated multiple times, "This is
Yeah.
why I do this. This is the reason that I refrain from doing certain things, so on and so forth." He has a strict moral code, and that's what we
Oh,
need in
man.
this country.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine a Good Morning Source Gaming that's just like Lex, Chris, Papagenos, Marcus Sellers, and like Super Metal Dave 64? And
Can we get Connor? Connor will come on if we get Marcus Sellers on.
and-
Can we get Marcus Sellers and Connor on the same?
Well, this
live
one
stream?
guy told me
That's
in the
money.
DMs. That's so mean of me. It'd be funny. It'd be really funny.
Play nice.
I don't think having a good like moral code really matters because we've had Bryhard Gaming on.
Oh, shut up.
Like, here's the thing. Honestly, I think maybe Papagenos. Somebody in here has spoken to Papagenos before about something, or maybe he contacted us about something. I don't even recall. If there's something that would be appropriate for him to be on, or if people would want it, it's something that I don't think we're against. Like I said, he seems,
Like a
like
genuine guy.
exactly. Like I wouldn't mind having him on for certain discussions if that's something that A, there's demand for, and B, he would make sense for. But yeah, there's no plans at the moment. So
If they came to us and like asked us to come on, we'd probably say yes.
yeah.
Of course.
We might as well build up our clout,
Whatever.
Yeah.
We might as well ingratiate ourselves to the fan base that would actually appreciate us
Might
instead
as
of
well.
constantly alienating ourselves by saying things like "Smash Brothers sucks." Isn't that right, Connor?
Yeah,
Smash Brothers sucks. Who said that?
Me.
All sorts of people. Yeah, I wasn't actually gonna like point to Colin.
What
particularly.
is your argument?
What is my argument? I'm tired.
Colin just doesn't really like.
Yeah,
That's fine. Yeah,
I'm the Source Gaming diversity hire. I don't like Smash all that much. That's just my thing. I talk about
CDT
everything that isn't
35.
Smash. Yeah.
That's me
is
too.
Oh yeah, it's also a
Painful.
AShadowLink.
and shameful, and I don't
No,
want
it's
to hear
not.
it.
No,
It's
it's
all.
not.
It's
I play-
shameful.
I play other
Sma-
video games. That's just it.
Smash is a good game,
I don't-
but I don't,
I don't-
like it.
I play other video games. I shower. I
That's only Melee.
I know
Don't
for a
worry
fact
about it.
that ShadowLink plays a lot. He's one of those people that likes Melee and Project M and things. So
Well, I like Project.
He's one of
M.
those
I like
gamers.
I like Melee. I like Project M.
I
I like all of
Project
them.
M because it feels the best, not because I care about competitive nature of video games or anything like that.
you
I
guys
really
know.
enjoy Project M because it's interesting to see kind of a side game developed by a different group of people and how their approach, even though sometimes it infuriates me, is different from the way that Sakurai and Hal and so on and so forth would develop their game. And you get really a lot of really character-specific stuff, and it's very character-focused. It's very much the anime fighter of the series.
I like a lot of the changes Project M made, but stuff like, I don't know, the stuff that's like competitively focused, like what they did to Pit, I don't like at all.
Sometimes they throw the baby out with the bathwater.
You guys know how Jim Henson, like the way he would puppeteer Kermit is that he would puppeteer Kermit. But then when he was done, he wouldn't put like Kermit on like a stand or something. He would just kind of like throw him into a box and like shut it and like walk away.
Nice.
That's how I treat Smash. It's like, yeah, I play it, and then I just kind of fucking put it away and forget about it until I do it again. Like, I'm not, you know, I'll sit down when I'll buy it when the game comes out, I'll unlock all the characters, and I'll spend the next week playing with friends.
Dude, I'm gonna go play
that,
Smash Bros. I'm gonna go get together with people to specifically play Smash Bros. Like right after I'm done with this.
Cool. I'll get together and play Screen Cheat with my friends.
Everybody,
I don't even know what that is.
It's so good. Yeah. It's so...
Screen Cheat is pretty good. Everybody who's in Philadelphia, please come meet me.
He doesn't have friends. There's no one to play Mario Party with him.
I don't play Mario Party, okay?
Because you don't have any friends, we know.
No, they just don't. They only play Smash Bros. They don't play anything else. We play Smash Bros. And we talk about tier lists, and that's it. We don't even.
My friends and I play Smash Bros. With items on. Don't at me.
You know, I actually would like to do that, but a lot of times, depending on the friend group I'm in, because I've got multiple different groups who play Smash Bros. Some of them will be like, "Oh God, no, we're doing." They'll get like mad if we go on like Halberd as a stage. Like Halberd stage hazards off. They'll be like, "Oh, why are we playing on this?" And I'm like,
man, I don't know. I understand like when I get together and when you wanted to like do something serious or you get mad at somebody, you can do a 1v1 on stages that are considered competitively viable. But there's so much to that game.
So much. There is so much. I'm firmly
people play with like an arbitrary rule set that was created 20 years ago for a game with completely different physics, a completely different mindset. It's amazing to me.
My friends and I, all four of us, we gather, we play Project M. We play on Big Blue.
Yeah, that's good. Big Blue's also in the new one.
The Big Blue sucks in the new one because you collide with cars and you go up instead of just sliding off the left of the stage.
Here, let me explain to you the type of person I am. Smash Brothers Ultimate on my Switch, played for 25 hours or more.
I don't need to hear anything more. I think I've come to my own conclusion.
Payday 2 for Nintendo Switch, played for 40 hours or more.
Why?
That's just...
Oh, I ordered that game once. I don't know what happened to it.
You fucking...
I bought that game, forgot I bought that game, it never came to my house, never followed up on it.
At least 20 of those hours are playing it with you, Matt, by the way.
Well, that can't be right.
I really want to start getting into Warframe on my Switch because it looks like it's a good game. Here's the thing.
You should also play Paladins again with me. God damn it. It's a double XP weekend.
Guys, I'm an adult. I do things. I don't have time to play games like you children all the time.
I've only played Payday 2 for 10 hours.
I just beat God of War 4.
10 or more. It could be like 14 and a half.
Okay, well.
Because that's where my backlog is right now.
You've still spent at least 20 hours playing it alone.
That's fine.
About to start Spider-Man on the PS4. Excited.
Absolutely. Spider-Man on the PS4 is very, very good. That's what I hear.
Yeah, that's what I hear too. That's why I bought it when it first came out, and haven't had it sitting on my shelf until today. Today's the day, man. I was surprised how good the new God of War is, by the way, because I played like the first God of War and I liked it, but it's so like David Jaffe over the top stupid, and this game actually has like a cohesive narrative.
Yeah, but the new one's a movie.
Yeah. You don't like that it's a movie?
No, I don't like that it's a movie. I like that. I want it to be a video game.
But here's the thing: like there's enough side content, and I feel like this is kind of where a lot of AAA games are going towards, especially Sony-produced games, because Uncharted, where there's enough side content in God of War where you can go and there's a lot of gameplay. Like there's a lot of challenges. But if you go through the main story, even there's only really 3 real boss battles. Like there's not that much, but there's if you explore and try to get to the other realms and unlock the language ciphers and stuff, there's a lot of fighting and things like that. But no, I think as a narrative focused game, it works really well. But yeah, like in the other God of Wars, you're killing dozens of gods each game. This one, I barely killed any gods.
We finally got our first dislike. I'm pretty sure it's for me saying I played Payday 2 on the Nintendo Switch. For
it's me. No,
it's not you. Matt, I know you hate playing video games with me, but goddamn, try to...
Just buy Devil May Cry 5 for your PS4. Play it. It's good. Better than all those other games.
I honestly really don't like the trend of like nearly every Sony exclusive by
Being good.
Well, no, just being like a third person action game. They all feel way too fucking samey. I really don't like it. Like, I love Uncharted, and I thought the Last of Us is fine, but like it.
Oh, The Last of Us! My favorite thing about The Last of Us is when that first came out. Everyone's all like, "This really shows how video games have matured as an art form," and how
it's just Uncharted with a crafting system,
and it's about the connection between real people and human connections. And then they go to the gameplay, they're like, "And this is where you smash the guy's face in with a wrench," and I'm like, "Yes, thank you, gamers for trying to elevate gaming to this art form with these with what is essentially a big Hollywood special effects movie if it was art in the first place." Sorry, I think
Super Bunny Hop did a really good video about around the time The Last of Us came out, about how he was playing like The Last of Us Remastered and Evil Within, and how they were basically the same exact game, just with like different stories.
Yeah, it's just.
But they were both like cinematic,
like
30 FPS, like third-person shooters, like with a focus on horror and like a crafting system. Like it's like the same game.
And there's nothing wrong with having these cinematic style games. Like I said, they're the big Hollywood action blockbusters of the genre, really. Yeah. And you can get good narrative experiences. Like I said, I enjoyed the story in God of War quite a bit, but I also understand why people aren't that into them because, like, if you ever tried to, like, go through, and they're short games, but go through and just play the Uncharted trilogy on PS3, you're all like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. Okay, and this...
Lost Legacy, though. Lost Legacy's actually really fucking good.
I like Uncharted, to be honest with you.
I like Uncharted too. It's just like...
I like Uncharted too.
Yeah, I like Uncharted too.
I like Uncharted too.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's no one likes the first one. Third one's all right. Fourth is okay. Lost Legacy's badass, but I like Uncharted too.
Yeah. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Oh, no, I brought this up recently. I don't remember why in one of our Discord chats because somebody was talking about Mike Jones and Star Tropics because Star Tropics, and they're like, how do you do a new Star Tropics? And I'm all like, Star Tropics is an inherently absurd game. I would love to if you'd have to get like a really good studio with good writers to do it, but like just a straight up like farcical like parody of a game like Uncharted, where it's like this kind of self-serious like kind of adventure with all of these tropes, but it's just Star Tropics. It's just stupid things.
Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, if they came up with a new Star Tropics, it would have to still keep the distinctly tropical theme of the last one. I don't want there to be an ice world. I don't want there to be a lava. It would be all the different islands that you go to, and there are like hints of, okay, this one's different. You can feel the difference. It's like going to different cities in America. You can feel the differences between them, but they don't like jut out and stick out to you right away. It would be really good if they had something like that. And plus, Star Tropics on the NES is just so good. I love it.
Is Super Mario Sunshine Star Tropics 3?
No, somebody could mod that in.
I mean, Star Tropics 2 isn't very good.
Yeah,
Star
but
Tropics
it's not
2 is not great.
I'm dropping all sorts of hot.
No, I'm not.
Let me tell you something. As somebody that was in their late teens, early 20s during the GameCube era.
Jesus Christ.
Because I'm, once again, old. When Sunshine came out, let me tell you, people didn't like that game. I don't know if children like that game, but like actual, like the gamer community was all like, what the hell is this? We want to follow up to Mario 64. This is some kiddie nonsense, and the GameCube has a handle.
All I need to say is it's if like...
And to this day, I have not played Mario Sunshine.
All I'll say is Super Mario 64 is like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are 2 and 2X. Odyssey is Underground. and Sunshine is Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX. It's just a rad.
Here's what I have to
fucking
say.
Video game.
Number one, if you need to use Mario as a base to compare to something else, especially Tony Hawk, I think that's the first red flag. Second of all,
why? Because those games are good.
Because, like, it's like Mario is such an obscure, unknown thing that you have to compare it to something way more well known, like Tony Hawk, to be able to like make it at all.
No, but I'm just comparing
important.
the progressions of the series.
Well,
There's parallels
the
to be
thing.
made, sure.
Yeah.
Also, Tony Hawk for Smash. Let's do it.
Yeah,
I
Tony
think
Hawk,
that
Chad Muska.
I played Sunshine when I was a little kid, and I loved it. And nowadays, I don't think, like, especially pacing-wise, I don't think it's the best out of the different 3D Mario games. But I really, really think it got a lot of things right. It did something different. Like, it was an actual, like, really, I think it was a really creative idea to step to the side. I think it was, like, really interesting that they did the whole flood mechanic to the point where it almost, like, makes you think, like, wow, was this originally going to be a Mario game? Because this is, like, really integrated into it. But I definitely do enjoy it, and I love the way that it because that, if you think about it, I can kind of see where they were, what they were looking to do, because in Mario 64, originally I don't think they were even going to have a hub world. It was just going to be all the different levels, but the thing is, in Mario 64, you're in Peach's castle, and then you jump into a painting and you transport to somewhere else. And I mean, for most people who played it, that's fine. Like, I never took umbrage with that, but I think for the developers, they were probably like, we would like to achieve something where everything is immediately connected to each other. And the idea that Sunshine, everything takes place in an actual physical location is very interesting. I love that you can see the different areas depending on which area you're in, so you can always see the different levels. And I think another big thing too is when you're a little kid, especially, or at least this applies to me, maybe not to everybody else, but you're always thinking about something like this, like any game franchise, especially like Mario, or, you know, that's my example. I would think, oh, how would this work in the real world? What would be the real world equivalent to this, in the sense that, like, how would Mario interact in the real world? Like, if my life was a Mario level, like, how would that work? And it does that by making everything design, like, it's not randomly designed. It's not like Bomb on Battlefield, which, while I love, it's, you know, there's not like random flying platforms and stuff everywhere. There's nothing wrong with that inherently, but the fact that these are all actual places that people, well, I shouldn't say people, that the disgusting Pianta creatures live in, that's really something that sticks out to me as being really interesting, and something that they really haven't achieved since well, with Odyssey. Until Odyssey, they didn't really ever try something like that again. Everything in the Mario universe was just so separated into fantasy, for the most part, that it didn't really have too much, at least on that aspect, it didn't seem to have too much personal bearing on establishing a real location. Like, when I was a little kid, I don't know, like, how much other people care about this, but when I was a little kid, I would always, and still today, it annoys me that, like, Peach's castle is in a different location, or now it's just on a hill, or now it's got the Mario 64 layout or something like that. I like, and I think a lot of younger fans like the idea of there being a consistent lore with Mario. And that's something that Sunshine definitely provided. Everything in that game is consistent in one world. But there's definitely pacing problems. That's what I'm gonna agree to that.
Hey, Colin.
Yeah?
Super Mario Sunshine is the Ghostbusters 2 to Mario 64's Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but what?
Ghostbusters 2 is completely...
But what is that?
Okay, it doesn't... Okay,
what's
how am I going to put
what's
this?
the Ghostbusters 2016 of Mario?
New Super Mario Brothers U. But,
fuck off! I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I'm gonna fucking cry. This is bullying.
It's Mario teaches typing.
I'd say Mario 3D Land.
It's somehow still DMC. That's still just...
All right. I gotta get to some chat stuff, and then we gotta get this fucking podcast, whatever. On
we got to bring it home.
Yeah, we don't have to bring it home.
The thing in the thumbnail we have.
Yeah, we have to get to the thumbnail
for
thing.
A whole hour.
Yeah, but no. Okay, so I just want to get through a few things first.
Time to answer everybody
Rad
in the
said
chat.
a couple things that I want to address. He mentioned Astrobot. Congrats, you're one of 3 people, including myself, who have played Astrobot. It is a good game. I want more VR stuff. I know everyone hates PSVR for whatever reason, because that's the weird paradigm with VR stuff is it doesn't have games, but the minute they start showing games for it, you're like, fuck that thing. All right.
Yeah.
Talk about Google Stadia. That was last episode. Go do that.
Dear viewers, this is why you are all idiots.
Shut up. I dislike Sunshine due to controls. I agree. I don't like inverted controls either. They're a little rough.
Yeah.
They're too much for my ape brain. Rad also said Tony Hawk games are fucking trash. You're wrong. Go play 3 again. It's the bestest one. Why not Mike Tyson for Smash? I don't know if we should have a rapist in Smash or someone who bites ears off. Not a won't look good for the franchise.
What are the others? Fine, but both? Okay, that's a bit much, man.
Yeah.
Mario Tennis Ultra Smash is the Ghostbusters 2016 of Mario.
That is correct.
True.
That is right. Way to go, guys.
You're right. It's like soulless. It's not funny. It looks like it was made in a week.
When I play a Mario game, like, is this going to be funny or is this going to be, like, boring? Okay?
Sam and Eyes asks opinion on the DSL games. Well, I'm doing a retrospective, so I don't want to spoil it, but Phantom Hourglass is trash, and Spirit Tracks is really good.
Yeah, I feel like those
I
were
respect
underrated.
what they were trying to do for
It was
Phantom
something
Hourglass.
really
It just
new and unique.
The execution of Phantom Hourglass is horrible.
All right, so in an effort to get this back on track, we're going to start talking about 2 topics and 2 topics only. Leaks later, because that's what we always do. We always save leaks for the end because, no spoils.
All right.
Tristan be here. He died.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That didn't land as I thought it would. No, Tris is busy, but he was at PAX. But, but he's not here. So instead, we got this guy, JediSquidward, who we still haven't introduced. We've just accepted him as one of our own.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone.
Let's face it, guys.
Never again.
Let's face it. Nobody actually knows who does anything for this site, so you can just have people on. It'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's written stuff for this site.
I have. Yeah. It's been a little while, but right now I'm working on a bigger project behind the scenes. But I do a lot of different stuff all over the place. You could say I've got my fingers in a lot of different pies. And a lot of different pie flavors, too. But yeah, I did go to PAX East, and...
That made me really uncomfortable, by the way.
A lot.
That's good, man. That's good.
That's good, man.
That's great. No, it's important, because you always want to be just a little bit...
Shut up. Shut up, you disgusting Mike Tyson. All right, so how was
I'm not Mike Tyson.
How was Mortal Kombat 11 on Switch?
I know that there was a long line.
Did you not go
to
to the Nintendo booth?
I went to the Nintendo booth for 5. Someone who was there at Nintendo brought me into the Nintendo booth for 5 minutes on Sunday at 5 p.m. as they were starting to close, but I didn't even want to play the games. I just talked to them.
Oh my fucking god! Why did I invite you on here? That's all I wanted to know. That's all I wanted to know was how Mortal Kombat was. God,
it's funny because other people were asking me too, and I really tried, but there were people wrapping around the booth next to ours try and get. Yeah, they were wrapping around the booth next to ours to try and get to the Mortal Kombat booth. And it's funny because they had this big Nintendo station set up, and first of all, it was advertising. The big game for it was Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yeah.
There was such a long line for that, despite the fact that it was out during PAX. It was already out. And then, 2 booths away, they had a tiny little booth with Mortal Kombat, and that was another really popular one. So unfortunately, I did not get to play Mortal Kombat, much to my dismay, but I'm sure it was really good. Sorry to disappoint in that aspect.
Fucking God.
Yeah. It's funny that you're mad, though.
I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
No, I'm sorry about that. I never seek to disappoint. Sorry to disappoint. In general, yeah, PAX, I really don't play that many games when I go to conventions. I only played, like, I think 2 or 3 when I went to this convention. And that was, I played some matches in Smash Bros., which is a lot of fun. And, oh, by the way, surprisingly, they had a whole bunch of Smash Bros. Wii U setups, which nobody was using. And they had all the GameCube adapters, like, connected to those instead of any of the switches for Smash Ultimate. I'm not sure why they did that. However, another game that I did play, which I think everyone should take a look at, 2 games, are Eagle Island, which is going to be coming out later this year. We're figuring out different systems that it'll be on. And then Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures Deluxe, which is a compilation of...
They have announced that game like 4 times.
Yeah, and we're announcing it again, so add another one to the ticker.
It's so weird, because, like, it seems like every 3 months they're like, yup, that's right, AVGN Deluxe is coming to Switch. And I'm like, we know! You've told us!
Yeah, it's going to be coming out on the Switch. We're actually aiming for later this year. But a little bit of clarification, it's a remake of the second game and the first game together. The first game especially was like completely redone with the physics and lighting of the second game.
That's nice.
So I think that's going to be a great time to be had for everybody. So make sure to go out and purchase Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures Deluxe.
Will. I just need a year.
Make sure to tweet out whenever we announce it next time. Okay. But no, it was a great weekend. Got to meet up with a lot of people. Got to meet a lot of new people. Got to meet up with a lot of friends too. Did a bunch of personal stuff. Did a bunch of cool stuff. And yeah, that place is crazy. It's a very strange expo hall because I've been to a few other conventions before, but this one is the actual design and architecture of the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center, not Exposition, excuse me, is that everything, it's just a giant rectangle and there's an outline around it, and that's all the panel rooms and stuff, and it goes up to like 3rd, 2nd floor, and then it's all just pointed towards the main expo hall in the center, which is like an underground pit, essentially. Like, when you first walk in, there's an escalator that you go down, and you can immediately see all of the different booths and things like that. If you ever look up on Google Images PAX East, like, and you see, like, the first image that you get, that's not a drone shot or anything. That is what you'll see when you first walk in. That was really amazing. And then you'll also get to see the intense sea of people walking through and trying to get to wherever they think they need to go. It's great. It was a great time. It's funny because it was a lot of, obviously you had the big gaming companies there, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, and then you also had a lot of like tangentially related companies there. You had Magic the Gathering, Discord. There was a huge setup for Facebook gaming since they're actually starting to do stuff with the Oculus now. There was like computer companies who there were, you know, a bunch of different stuff. So you have that, and then you have a whole bunch of indie games, a lot of different indie booths. Compared to other conventions I've been to, there weren't really that many people selling things. They mostly just wanted people to come and try out their games. But it was really interesting to see the lengths that people will go to make their booths interesting. Very, very high production values on a lot of these booths. Very neat to see. I'd never seen something like this before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're telling me you didn't play Cuphead on the Switch?
I don't think they had it there.
Yes, they did.
They did?
Yes,
where?
They
did. What was that?
Should have been at the Nintendo booth.
The Nintendo booth? No, I did not see it at the Nintendo.
You were in that booth for 5 minutes, and all you did was talk to a person. How do you know it was actually there?
Well, I took a look around through not. I'm looking for a certain word. I believe it begins with a P. It's not perennial. I took a look through my vision. Peripheral vision. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I took a quick look through my peripheral vision. They had Yoshi's Crafted World, and they had some Dragon Quest game because it's a Nintendo booth, and they will always promote Dragon Quest in some way or another.
Yeah, they had 11S.
I didn't see.
No, actually, it was Builders
Cuphead
2. I'm
related.
wrong. It was
Sorry.
Builders 2. Me bad.
No, that's all right.
They also had Hellblade, which comes out next week. Surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the full list.
No, I did not.
Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. That was the thing. They said
really
a selection.
A lot of people played Bloodstained. Yeah.
They said a selection of anticipated indie games, and they then revealed that like half of them were from the Nindy Direct from like the week prior.
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard that Bloodstained on the Switch is not looking that hot.
On the Switch specifically?
Yeah, that it was having some frame rate issues.
Oh, okay. Damn. Well, I'm really sorry. I didn't play Bloodstained. I didn't play Cuphead. I could, load up Steam right now and, purchase that, and I could tell you my impressions right now.
No, but I just want to know how it is on the Nintendo. But,
well, I'm sorry.
Is Hellblade a good game or just a good game, in quotes? I've heard...
It's made by Ninja Theory. It's probably not very good.
Yeah. Thanks for,
Thanks for coming back for just that. It was nice.
Yeah.
People are like, it's an experience. I have no idea what to think about that.
It's funny because I actually have the beta for Bloodstained. I have the backer beta. I didn't back it, just someone gave it to me. I have it in my Steam library. I still have not booted it up once yet.
I played Bloodstained at E3 3 years ago, and it was good, but it was just a stage in a Metroidvania type of experience. It looks like a completely different game at this point.
I think most people are kind of sitting around and going, I think Curse of the Moon is going to end up being the better one.
Yeah, I think most of us are thinking that too. I think, and let me tell you, I feel like that new Kojima game is going to end up being a huge disappointment too. What's the stupid one with
It's called Death Stranding, and it looks great. And
it looks
I have
awful.
I have my own theory.
It looks barely like a game. What is going on?
I'm ready for Fetus Hoarder the game.
He is so up his own butt. Here's the thing I've realized about these Japanese developers that everyone's all like, man, Capcom's really holding Inafune back. Man, why isn't Konami doing anything with Igarashi? Because these people can't do things on their own. Because they need somebody to rein in their worst impulses. And when they become indie developers, then it's or I don't know. See, at least with Kojima, he's with Sony, so Sony might. But I feel like they're giving him too much free reign.
They're definitely giving him a lot of free reign, but at the same time, I feel like
George Lucas is a genius. But once he had nobody telling him what to do, he made the prequels. You need somebody to tell you things are bad ideas, and these guys don't have that.
To keep things short, the situation between Kojima and Konami was a little bit more than what they've been with different studios and developers.
We're getting so sidetracked again.
That's fun. It's fun to get sidetracked.
That's kind of the Source Gaming MO, man.
Yeah.
How long have you been here for?
The thing with Kojima is that he was kind of riding the coattails of his other staff. The Kojima games, Kojima production games are very much like collaborative experiences between the whole staff. Kojima himself didn't come up with all the good ideas or even write the games very much himself. For Metal Gear Solid 1 through 3, he had a writer. Mm-hmm. A different writer who wrote those games, and that's why the stories in them are really good.
Absolutely.
And in terms of Keiji Inafune, he was never good. Look, he's responsible for DMC Devil May Cry. I'll never forgive him.
There are things he did that was good. I think he also, at a point in Capcom, had a little too much say.
Absolutely.
But the thing was, he also wasn't the problem in Capcom. Once they jettisoned him, were like, no, everything that happened that was bad was his idea. And then they still kept doing the same practices with DLC and everything else that they do because they're Capcom.
Yeah.
I like the Mega Man X series, which was basically his series. I like Lost Planet. I thought that was good, and that only happened because of him. He was the one that pushed games like Dead Rising. Like, he did a lot of good things.
Oh yeah.
Someone in chat asks, real question, why all creators who left a big company and make a Kickstarter always fails to provide a great game? And to that, I say, that's not always true. However,
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
look at Ukulele, man. That
How-
game was
the-
amazing.
oh
with
my god,
nobody-
shut up.
no dissension.
But however,
The-
no, let me finish this. No, shut up.
go
Don't
ahead.
I'm gonna fucking scream. Anyway, but no, the problem is that they're trying to make all these games that are throwbacks, but they don't have the same limitations or the same deadlines as they did like 20-something years ago to make these games. That's why, like, the Inti Creates guys, somehow, when they're given, like, I don't know, 4 months to make an 8-bit rendition of an upcoming Kickstarter game, they always make a way better version than the final game, that means that, yes, Inti Creates needs to make an 8-bit Shenmue game to follow up Shenmue 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, as we all do, I feel like we should move on for this. But I'm going to say the one thing with Igarashi in particular, and I'm interested in playing Bloodstained. I'm a backer. I want the game. But I think the reason, if you really look into it, that Konami stopped giving him money is because he would spend too long developing things. And if not, if they gave him a shorter turnaround time, he would just reuse sprites and assets from the old games. Like, and you see it takes him a long time to make original stuff. Also, the level design in all the Metroidvania games are not great compared to something like Metroid, even though they're some of my favorite games. And that's why I feel like Symphony is still the best one. Anyways, so anything else about PAX?
No, it was great. Honestly, I mostly just stuck around with like the YouTubers and stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't actually play that many games for the most part.
Oh man, someone in chat is like, Colin, can you rant about how Google Stadia sucks? You don't want this. You don't want me to fucking go Super Saiyan on this fucking stream.
I feel like I feel bad because I feel like Matt was going to say something. ShadowLink had some pertinent stuff to say about my Igarashi thing, and then
Nah, he was just moaning. He stubbed his toe.
oh, okay, then we're good.
I'm trying to actually say something. God damn it! Okay, so I've been trying to talk about this fucking Kickstarter thing for like 4 minutes. So the reason why the games aren't very good is because they don't have enough fucking money. The Kickstarter model is not sustainable. It doesn't give them enough money to actually make the game. They raise most of the money on their own.
Yeah,
The
they run
thing
out really
is,
quickly.
The reason why they make bad games when they leave these companies is because they don't have the same amount of money. They don't have enough money to make the same quality of game. And that's why something like Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is so good. It's because it doesn't need as much money to be good. And something like Shovel Knight, it doesn't need as much money to be good. It's very low profile. Whereas something like Ukulele and I don't know, Mighty Number 9, those are higher, like they're shooting for higher quality. They're shooting for like a higher level of standards. They're shooting for these higher production values, and they don't have the money to back it up.
Phantom, you don't understand. They run out of money during development. Because, like, it happened with Tim Schafer's, oh god, what was it called? Broken Age, where they wanted 400K. They made 3.1 million, and they still ran out before the game was finished. They had to make a part 2. Yeah.
Yes, they ran out because they're making these games and they need more money.
Yeah.
They're trying too hard to make the same kind of games that they made when they had publisher backing and a lot more money with crowdfunding and other things and self-funding and stuff like that. They don't have enough money. That's the reason why.
I wonder what happened with Goose Game. It got delayed. They said so. It's coming out in the fall.
Like, it's very much the developer's fault for not complaining. But the reason why they usually put out these, like, very disappointing games is because they just don't have enough money.
Can we do a podcast on just Tim Schafer games one day?
Oh.
No,
Someone
no, I'm
added
sorry.
a double fine, ran out of money because they were
No.
incompetent.
No, they weren't incompetent with their funds. They have literally released everything that they spent their money on. They're very transparent about that. The whole fucking Tim Schafer took a vacation with the money earned from the Kickstarter is complete bullshit.
I like if you Google Tim Schafer, like the first thing that comes up is net worth.
The people like hashtag gamers try to blame the developers for everything, but really, just blame the fucking free market. They don't have enough money. They can't make the things they want to.
Are you purporting that we do some sort of socialist
Yes!
game?
No.
This is not
Corporations are badass. Work for them.
Corporations are fucking horrible, but also they have a lot of money that is needed to make these kind of games.
I'm a believer in the
are-
free market, but let's not muddy this and talk about those Best Buy links.
Yeah,
yet.
I think that would.
Speaking of the free market,
Speaking of
free market,
corporations,
This is one of the great things that corporations provide to us in our society.
Video
Okay.
game leaks.
Yeah,
so
they're probably going to get like
well-
a tax deduction for this.
you know what? I'm gonna do this. I think I usually still have the graphic in my XSplit. Okay, from this point on, we're gonna be talking about leaks and spoilers. So if you don't want to hear about this shit, you don't want to get the next 3 Nintendo Directs spoiled, leave now. All right, that's enough. I'm gonna start off this leak talk by saying one of the jokes I cut from the April Fool's Rate That Character, which Matt told me to cut at the 0 hour, was when I was talking about gaming icons. In the final video, I say Mario, Sonic, Pac-Man, and Dark Pit, but originally it was Mario, Sonic, Pac-Man, and Brave.
Yeah.
And I showed a little bit of the leaked code of Brave. Anyway, that was gonna be a good XD, but no. So let me give you the timeline of events. So earlier in the week, Best Buy released their weekly ad, and in the weekly ad they had an advertisement for the Fighters Pass for Smash Brothers, which is already weird, but there was also the render for Joker in the weekly ad, which I think most people were kind of taken aback, not just by the fact that, oh, that's what the render of Joker looks like, but also just because, like, is that...
We finally have something!
Yeah, does that mean there's something soon? But then, about a day and a half later, I want to say, there was... This is the really important thing that I want to put out there, because there's a lot of, like, misconception about this. On the employee server side of Best Buy, these were not public listings. These were in the employee directory, because they have their own. There was listings for Persona 5 for Switch, Metroid Prime Trilogy for Switch, and A Link to the Past for Switch. And they all had their own unique product codes. And then they were taken down. But it's important to clarify that these were on the employee side, which means we only could have known about this because a Best Buy employee themselves took pictures of the listings and then put them online. They were not public at any point. So it's not so much Best Buy themselves leaking it, but a Best Buy employee leaking it.
Yeah,
Because
and you know
this
what?
happens at GameStop and Amazon all the time, where they have server-side listings of upcoming games. Though the curious thing is that usually they just have placeholder names rather than
Right.
actual titles of video games.
And from talking to people that I know that have worked at Best Buy, these things aren't, inserted by lower level employees. There's not very many. It's not like people put fake games in these. It's not something that happens.
Yeah, it's only higher ups that can do that. Like lower like actual store working employees they can't do it themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is, I guess it could be some things could be placeholders for other things, but these are all things that there are reasons that they put them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You know-
the best case scenario for me, because I don't. So there's this ongoing fucking rivalry between the different subsets of the Megami Tensei franchise, and that's that Persona like overshadows fucking everything.
True.
So I don't want Persona 5 to come to Switch because that's competition for the actual system exclusive Shin Megami Tensei 5. The best possible solution for me and for no one else, because I know there's people who want this fucking game on the Switch, is that the Persona 5 listing was just for like a DLC card you could buy in store for Joker.
Speaking of DLC cards, that's one of. Wait, the prices were linked to the games? Like, does they actually have full prices on that? I don't remember.
Yeah, they all
I think it was $60.
They all had 60, but that's like the typical placeholder price for any video game. Because even like Minecraft was listed for $60
because
when it was first listed.
I was thinking Link to the Past could have just been some sort of eShop card that doesn't even have anything to do with Link to the Past. It's just like, you know how different cards have different pictures? It could just be like an eShop card with a picture of Link to the Past on it.
That's true.
I think my like, I hope this is the case for Link to the Past, is that if we are getting like a Link to the Past remake, I would like
again.
I would like.
I mean, they already kind of perfected it the first time they did it.
I would like.
Debatable.
I would like to see them release it in like a bundle with Link's Awakening.
Yep.
That's
that'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I would say they wouldn't even have to do a remake. They could just do a Link to the Past collection with Link's Awakening with
maybe it's
kind of cleaned up graphics, and then a little bit cleaner version of Link to the Past, and that's it.
Maybe it's
Or
like
you could do both games in both art styles.
Maybe it's like a special edition of Link's Awakening that comes with like Link to the Past in it.
The thing about A Link to the Past is it's a very it's a very important game for a lot of people. So I feel like if they try to remake it, it'll be some shit thrown. So the thing is, the Game Boy Advance version of A Link to the Past has a lot of issues. It has like screen crunch and Young Link's voice in it for some reason.
I was talking about Link Between Worlds. That's what I meant.
That's not a remake. It's being one, though.
Yeah, it's pretty much a new game in my opinion.
The thing with A Link to the Past GBA is it fixed some of the issues, the actual like bugs and oversights with the original Link to the Past. So if they just like release the original Link to the Past with those like tweaks that made the game legitimately better without all the stuff that didn't make the game better. And maybe like, I don't know, open up the view to widescreen. That'd be fine. I'd be okay with that. That'd be like a real remaster that people would be okay with and like, instead of this like crazy remake where they overwrite the complete original vision for the game and replace it with fancy new graphics that weren't intended to be in this game.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm totally okay with HD remasters when they just do like the bare minimum to preserve the original vision and don't replace it.
Yeah, but when that original vision is the product of technical limitations of the time. You're being a little bit of a video game elitist here, man. Like this is the original stuff. The
Past isn't the product of technical limitations, though. It's like it's a very good game that holds.
What if you talked to Miyamoto and he said, originally we wanted Link to be able to turn into a dinosaur, but we just couldn't do it.
Christ.
So now he turns Link into a dinosaur, and the next thing you know, they replace all the guns with walkie-talkies. But that's fine because that's what they wanted to do.
So the thing is, I don't give a shit about stuff that was cut on the cutting room floor. Like
people love the game.
What matters is how the game was when it released, And when you go back to that game and you say, our original vision for the game was to have 2 fishing holes in it, and we're going to spend our development resources on this remake to not improve it, but add 2 fishing holes. That there's a bit of a mix of priorities there, because it's like you're not fixing the game, and you're just like.
But you're presenting a remixed or new experience, which I think is important because the original game.
Vision.
The original game still exists. That game is still there, and you can still download it in a million places. You can get it on Wii U or new 3DS right now.
So the thing is, I think the problem with remakes is that eventually the original game is just going to stop being sold because they have this new version that works on new systems. They don't have to work out an emulator or anything.
As long as the market's there, people will still go out and search for that version.
The market won't be there because people are...
Then boo-hoo! Who cares? If nobody wants to play it, then it's not there. And you will still be able to find it.
The market is dumb. People are dumb.
Right, you don't agree with the majority of the people, but you know what? You and people like you are still going to be able to find the original game. They don't just stop existing. I think the perfect example of a remake, even though it wasn't touted as a remake, is Punch-Out for the Wii. Because it took the feelings that you got while playing that game in the 80s and encapsulated that and brought it to a big screen. For instance, all the boxers are huge. And you know what? In the original game, they were bigger than Little Mac, but they weren't actually giant sprites. But they felt huge. So they captured that feeling and they brought it to the game. They brought the basic mechanics, but they updated it so that it would be more accessible and there was more to do for a modern audience. I think that's fine. I think that's you're reimagining the game, but staying true to what made the original game great. And you know what? That's basically a remake, and it's not like they've stopped making or stopped promoting the original Punch-Out. I think you're being a little bit of an alarmist in that I don't think these things disappear, unless there's any legal reasons for it, like the unaltered Star Wars trilogy, which will come out now that Disney owns Fox. I think as long as there's a collector's market out there, the market will cater to those people as well. Maybe not as much, maybe not as many times, but I severely doubt that like A Link to the Past will just disappear as far as nostalgia goes. It'll probably still be like, okay, so I got the SNK collection, right? And that this arcade collection includes like the same version of a game from 2 different home console ports and the arcade version. They're all there together because they all have different value nostalgically and from a gameplay perspective. So I don't see where you're coming from. I'm sorry.
Reminder that Twilight Princess HD and the Wii version of Twilight Princess were sold congruently on the eShop at the same time.
The thing is, though, with remakes these days, especially Nintendo ones, they're probably getting rid of the original versions. Like, Majora's Mask 3D is probably going to replace Majora's Mask.
In what way?
Just in what they represent Majora's Mask as.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think that to me at least, it seems that what your fear is the original game, be it with technical limitations or not, is the thing that, regardless of how the developers felt about it, that's what people fell in love with. And now there's worry that if they change that in a remake, there's going to be... Well, first of all, it's not just that, oh, it won't be as good, but the idea that this new remake, it'll be put forward by Nintendo and whatever company's producing it, that this is the true version. Not necessarily in that they're going back and saying, oh, the old version was bad or something like that. The old version wasn't the right version. But the fact that through their marketing materials, through the replication of images and art assets from this game, through all the marketing and all the new people talking about it, that's going to become the cultural idea. The remake will replace the original in the cultural vision and in shorthand.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. The thing. Thank you for explaining that better than I could.
Oh no, that's okay. The thing is, one thing that I would say is this is Nintendo we're talking about. There's no way that they're not going to re-release the original a billion more times. They will.
I
they
think
always do.
I think they might stop doing that with the N64 Zelda games because the N64 is just such a pain in the ass to emulate. They've never done it right. They've never been able to do it right. And the thing is, they can just release these new versions instead now. And the thing with Majora's Mask is that the original version of Majora's Mask is what's generally considered by fans to be the better version. But Nintendo themselves absolutely thinks that Majora's Mask 3D is an improvement in every way possible.
That goes down more to a matter of public opinion, at least the way I see it.
Yes,
I played the original, and I played the new one on the 3DS, and I think it's been a little while since I played, so I don't remember everything. But the thing is, it's probably the case that the 3DS version is maybe objectively the better one. But the thing is, in the minds of everyone who played it, both because it's a remake and the differences are small, and because it's had a lot longer time to be around and get in the hearts and minds of people will always, like the consumers will always regard the original version as being the better one because they're biased toward it.
Yeah, the thing is, consumers don't control the market. It's the corporations that do. So
right, but consumer demand is definitely feeds into that. And the thing is, if like my concern is when you don't remake these things, because video games are different than other media. Because although trends and technology do change in movies or music, you can still go back and appreciate them in primarily the same format that they've always been. Whereas video games, the technology, the inputs change, the really the style of games. If you look at a game now, like compared to a game 20 years ago, there's barely a connection. So if you don't remake these games, there's a lot of people that feel like that won't play outdated games. They just won't. They're all like, why would I play this when I can play something that's brand new? And if you don't remake these games periodically to appeal to a newer audience, you're not going to get them involved with that IP. You're not going to get them involved with that experience. And that largely is what lends people to go back and look at the originals and look at older games. I know a lot of people that, went and started playing Zelda on something like Wind Waker, for instance. I know some younger people, that was their first Zelda game. But then they go back, they're like, oh, I love Zelda. Let me go back and check out Ocarina and check out these things. So that's why you need new experiences, and I think remakes are part of that. And while I understand your concern, I think as video games become more ubiquitous within our culture, it's like anything else. You're going to have people that are into the classics. And so you're going to have people that release that. Just like, they still release LPs for audio files. I think that you're going to see more and more of that. But, I mean... I totally understand what you're saying.
The thing I get with remakes is remaking like an old, early polygonal game like Ocarina of Time, Crash. Those games visually don't really hold up in terms of like modern standards. I get remakes in that sense, in that they're replacing the original graphics with shiny, fancy new ones to appeal to the modern consumer. But when remakes happen for games that don't really need them, like, I don't think Link's Awakening needed a remake, and I don't think A Link to the Past needs a remake. I feel like just a remaster that
You say that, but they sold it for the 3DS, which had a huge install base. But yeah. I can guarantee you that at $60 as opposed to $5 probably. I don't remember what virtual console prices are. This game's going to sell a lot more because it's new and shiny and it's going to get people involved.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, your problem, Matt, is that you have the soul of an artist. I mean, I get you. I'm a very pragmatic sort of person. Like, look at Umberto here in the chat. Said he's like, who would have played Blaster Master if it wasn't remade as Blaster Master Zero? And I'm sure there's people that And Blaster Master Zero is one of those games that almost makes Blaster Master obsolete. But I'm sure there's people that went back and played Blaster Master because of Blaster Master Zero.
I'm pretty sure it just comes down to platform availability. Like
that's part of it.
I have always noticed. I've been playing games on PC for like the better half of forever, and I have found that remakes and remasters of PC games have always faltered. And which is weird because usually remakes and remasters have better compatibility and better PC options, but people just if the original's available and cheaper, people will always just go to that one anyway. Like I remember for years people would be like, there's going to be no reason to play Half-Life 1 when Black Mesa comes out. Black Mesa came out. People still play Half-Life 1.
Yeah. The thing too is what you were talking about earlier, Spazzy, with certain old games need to be updated and continue and change and flow because of technical limitations both impacting the game and the ability to play it. That is, in my opinion, since the game industry as a whole is very, very reliant on franchises, more so than with other industries, it is more of a discussion on a case-by-case basis whether or not that job that you're talking about should be given to a sequel or to a remake, and which work that responsibility falls upon. And it has more to do with the idea of, in my opinion, a sequel is something that inherently states, because we're used to this idea in sequels that, okay, it carries a certain, like the spirit of the series, it carries these and these and these traits, but it's a new spin on it. It's a new modern interpretation of it. But right now, the idea of remakes, in general, a lot of people, not just for games, but in movies too, are conflicted on the idea of how they view remakes. There's no general consensus. Some people view it as a remake is supposed to replace the original, and others view it as a remake is a new interpretation of that specific work. I
see remakes as, especially when it's not done by the same team that originally did it, it's like a good cover song. And you can have something that, you know, like Weezer's cover of Africa by Toto, which is like a beat-for-beat remake. Why does it even exist? But then you have you know, if you have a cover that actually reinterprets a song in some way with modern sensibilities, or changes it or adds some personality, then there's a reason for it. But what's weird about games is, like, somebody said GoldenEye, and I know there's that kind of remake that didn't make a huge splash a while back. But the thing about GoldenEye is that's a great example, because a shooter without free aiming in today's market
would not work.
It doesn't, and it's even awkward to go back and play. And I wasted so many hours in high school on that game. Like, I loved that game, but I can't go back and really play it. I mean, I can as a lark every now and then, but it's difficult. However, if you took that game and just remade it and added free aiming, it kind of breaks some aspects of it. So it's hard. But that's why also you do have to remake things.
I think it's just gonna. I think like the remake versus original debate really just comes down to the platform availability and the game itself, because not every remake is going to be better than the original. Not every original game is going to be as polished or even feel like the definitive version like the remake, and sometimes there are just going to be consoles that have a remake instead of the original just out of necessity, like how they have the N64 remakes on the 3DS, because there is no possible fucking way that N64 games could be emulated on the 3DS.
The next NX in the chat brings up a really good point, in that why can't remakes just include the original game?
Who
that's
fucking
a very
knows?
They should.
They should. They absolutely should.
Metroid Zero Mission includes the original Metroid. There's like Halo Anniversary Edition where you can swap between the original and like the new graphics.
Yeah,
on
you
the
literally
fly.
hit like left bumper and it just switches graphics.
That's really cool. They should do that.
Yeah.
So you have the original version there.
I always liked that about Splatterhouse did that. I always liked that about the BioShock remasters. They just were like free upgrades to the original. Borderlands just did that. If you own Borderlands on Steam, they give you the remaster, and it's a separate EXE for free.
That was the thing too with like Skyrim. If you owned Skyrim and all the DLC, you got the special edition for free for a while.
Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap for I had that on Switch. It's amazing that you go from like the master.
You also hit left
the
bumper,
master system.
and it becomes the Master System graphics. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's how you do it. I think we just solved this, guys. Good job. We solved.
Heart Gold Soul Silver doesn't do that with the soundtrack, by the way. Those are original remixes made using the original sound font. It's weird.
Since we kind of got off track here, although I feel like this was...
Hey, everything that's been said, I agree with. Just throwing
Be a great
that
politician.
out there.
I agree with both of your points.
I think the more important question is, will Metroid Prime Trilogy on Switch be a remake or just a straight port of the Wii versions?
I think they could get away with just porting it and maybe making it HD.
Oh no, Galactic Pirate's gonna murder us for thinking that that's okay.
Those games are great.
Yeah, I know, but the Wii graphics are bad.
No, they look great.
I know. Alright.
You know, even at the time, though...
I'm not arguing with you, Colin. I'm arguing with Galactic Pirate.
I know, I'm just saying.
I remember playing Metroid Prime at the same time I was playing Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox. And Metroid Prime is this beautiful-looking game. But man, that original Ninja Gaiden, the first Xbox was a beast. That console was a beast.
It's a PC. It has a Pentium 3 and an NVIDIA graphics card in it. That's why it can run Doom 3 and Half-Life 2.
Okay. Anyways, like let's get back. I actually think this was a really good conversation. But so we're talking about the Best Buy leaks. Did we want to go over? I think we've said everything we could.
We talked about all three games that they talked about. I think it's pretty reliable.
Like these three games are like bombshells, but they're also not like
talking points.
What could it mean? Because it's like Metroid Prime Trilogy is Metroid Prime 1 through 3.
Or maybe it's going to be 1, 2, and 4. We don't know which three games it's going
to be. There's a parallel leak talking about other Zelda games coming to the Switch, which would be Wind Waker HD, hopefully not Twilight Princess HD, and there's the one that's been in the pipeworks for a long time is Skyward Sword HD. Yeah,
I liked Wind Waker HD better than the original, but I'm not like huge into the game, so I'm sure there's issues with it.
I hope with if they do bring over Twilight Princess HD, that they use the version. Hi, welcome back.
Sorry about that. I just needed to hop out for a second.
No problem. But I hope if they do bring over Twilight Princess HD, that they make the changes needed to make that actually a good version of the game. So there's
back
this
the original textures, like goddamn.
So there's this NVIDIA Shield port of Twilight Princess that's running an emulated version, and recently they just upgraded the textures with like deep learning AI, and that looks like 1,000,000 times better than the work that Tantalus did on the Wii U version. But the thing is, that NVIDIA version is actually using a mixture of these deep learning AI textures for the environmental textures, and it's using all of the character textures that Tantalus actually made for the Wii U version, because there's no way that a computer can make those kind of textures.
Ooh, that's nice looking. I'm looking at the tweet you put into
Man, the texture work on Twilight Princess HD is so bad.
Yeah,
it really is.
This fucking screenshot of the opening is like it's so much more brown, and like the bridge is made out of like the same 3 bricks over brown bricks. It's made of the same 3 bricks like over and over again.
The thing I don't understand about that bridge with Twilight Princess HD is that they remodeled the bridge to get rid of the detail. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it looks so bad.
It's like Nintendo told them to retexture everything, but they didn't want to. But they're like, "We'll do it."
Like half of the textures feel like they were just run through like sharpness filters, and the other half of the textures are like really badly painted and then run through Photoshop filters to simulate some kind of horrible effect. Like there's if you go into the Forest Temple in the Wii U version of Twilight Princess, and I believe it's in Ook's room, the mini boss, you look at the ground, you can see like the fucking bubble wrap texture used on the wood, and it's like, what the fuck? Who did this? This looks like a college student did this.
Honestly,
no, because that's the kind of shit I would do.
When it originally came out, it was a big surprise to me because I remember Wind Waker HD came out, and that looked really good in comparison to the original. The original looked good too, but then Twilight Princess came out, and I'm like, this looks like exactly the same thing. I can't even like tell the difference here. In my opinion, if they're gonna go out and say this is an HD remake, they should do it like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, essentially.
Oh no! I just want the original Twilight Princess with good textures. Because the thing about the original Twilight Princess is the art direction is on point, but the technical limitations hold it back from looking great. So they can do all they want. They can replace the models. They can do all that, but when it's this like half-baked solution where they replace some of the models but don't make actually like any substantial changes, they remodel a bridge to be perfectly straight and remove all the like damage done to it, and they remodel like a door to be more round. It's just like, what the fuck is the point?
I would hope that Metroid Prime Trilogy has some graphical updates. It looks good, but I feel like it would need some texture work.
Oh yeah,
just add a lighting filter, make everything in the dark, then you don't have to do any work.
The thing I really like. Oh my god.
So what do you really like? Colin, tell us what he really liked.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4 needs more peanut butter.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about Persona.
I was going to say real quick before we talk about Persona, Metroid Prime, everything's so damn dark in that game. They should just have a mode where if you beat the game, you can just unlock lights on mode. Yeah, turn the lights on. You can just replay through the game, but now it's a lot less scary because you've got the lights working.
I hope Metroid Prime 4 has like the Doom 3 mechanic where you have to take out your flashlight and put away your gun every once in a while.
No. It should be an HD Trilogy bonus feature where she has a visor setting.
She take. Oh my god.
The perfect HD remaster I can think of is the Metal Gear Solid HD trilogy, which
they're just like direct translations.
Those are direct translations. They have like updated textures to be a little more clean, and like Metal Gear Solid 3 runs at 60 instead of 30. That's the kind of stuff I'd want for Metroid Prime, because those original games have like really good artistic vision, but it's just the technical limitations holding them back.
Yeah.
So bringing it up to the technical standards of modern day with higher resolution textures, maybe a more consistent frame rate. That's all I need. That's all I need.
That's really what any game needs. I don't know. There's like a few. I always see some certain people in the Source Gaming chat are always like, they can't just like take the original GameCube or Wii ISOs and just like run them at a higher resolution and add some texture filtering. And it's like, yeah, it's really all you need. Like that works out fine most of the time.
Put your pot away and get back to work.
I would say don't emulate it. Try to remake it with the
I'm not
source
saying
code
emulate it. I'm saying port it, but I'm just saying you can just up the internal resolution and add some good texture filtering, and there you go.
I brought a Punch-Out for the Wii, and that's literally all that game would need. That game. Yeah. What are you going to do?
When you emulate a collection, there's some issues that arise if you don't emulate it like really well.
Yeah.
And like the recent Castlevania Dracula X Chronicles like collection, whatever, on PS4 is pretty bad. There are some really bad emulation issues, and the thing is with that, it's using Sony's like actual PSP emulator, and that's horrible. It's like it has some issues. There's control input delay, and there's a lot of just like problems.
Yeah.
There's not really a great version of Symphony available. right now. I think the Xbox one, and a lot of people hate it. I don't think it's too bad, but I haven't played the original in a few years.
The 360 one would be okay if it like didn't have that goddamn stupid resolution scaling that's hard to actually configure right.
Yeah.
RadVG says that's exactly what Grezzo did with the Zelda remakes on the 3DS. Yes, those remakes were done with the original source code. They had to redo every single animation in that game to make it look right at 30 FPS, but it was done with the original source code. Yes.
Absolutely.
Reminder that the best versions of Final Fantasy VII and Symphony of the Night that you can play right now are still the PlayStation 1 Classics versions on the PSP, Vita, and PS3.
Yep.
Reminder that they're still using the busted, broken PC version of Final Fantasy VII on the PS4, Steam, and Switch, and I hate it.
Yeah.
At least with the PC version, you can put all sorts of mods on it too.
Yeah, it's
the
weird.
PC version you can fix.
You can like fans have already made like for well over a decade a patch that just makes Final Fantasy VII run at 60 FPS. And it just fucking works. It just
there's patches
works.
for everything.
But,
there's patches
like,
for Final Fantasy VI PC that make it look like an actual game.
Yeah,
anyway,
like that's how Final Fantasy VII is supposed to run. It's supposed to be 60 FPS, but apparently Square Enix just does not want to fix Final Fantasy VII, so instead it still runs at 30 FPS when you're running around and 15 in battles. That's not how the game works.
Yeah, 15 FPS in battles really fucks with a lot of the timing, the input commands you have to input.
It's so awful. I don't know how they keep doing this.
That is really funny, actually.
You can fix the PC version, but you can't fix the console versions that are stuck with all those issues.
Just do what every company did on PC games. Just like steal the coding for the fan mod and shove it in.
They did. They had to remove it because people found out.
Man. But you know what? What's amazing is I want some version of Ocarina of Time on the Switch. I don't even care which. Just because they're just like having Final Fantasy VII on a Nintendo console, whatever. Having Final Fantasy VII and Ocarina of Time available to play on the same console, there's something about that kind of blows my mind. I don't know, just that thing.
Release the original without Rumble support, and also bundle it with a steering wheel, and you all can have the experience I had last month.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, that was it, I guess. Like I said, Persona, I've never played any of the Persona or Shin Megami Tensei games.
Play Shin Megami Tensei instead.
Okay, good. If 5 comes out for the Switch, I may get it. I don't know. We'll see. I have a lot of games to play. But I do enjoy kind of RPGs or anything that has kind of grindy elements of it. I like that on the Switch because I can just kind of play it whenever.
I don't play video games.
Yeah, I've said that before. Just play Smash Brothers. That's not a game, it's a lifestyle.
Smash Bros. Isn't a real video game. It's true. But, yeah. You know, one thing I did want to bring up was, I think it was yesterday, we got some tweets from the man himself, Masahiro Sakurai, about his time at the Famitsu Awards.
Oh god, do we have to talk about Smash Brothers?
Yes. And
it won Game of the Year.
It won Game of the Year, which I absolutely think it should. I am so sad that all these American and honestly just Western studio. I think it's just Smash Bros. Was a little bit too late for all of the criteria. But I'm going to load up the tweet right now. He won a number of awards for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
I think Ultimate's an amazing game, but I feel like it doesn't have enough fresh content.
It does. I'm going to say solidly that it does.
Ever since I bought Smash Ultimate, I haven't
so good.
I'll say this much. Also, last night, a really interesting tweet came out, including how much the Switch has sold up to this point in Japan.
Yes.
And the Switch is less than 200K units behind the PS4's total lifetime sales. which
wow.
is absolutely in Japan. By the way, I said it once, but I'll clarify again. That's insane. That's actually insane.
That's kind of what people expected. Though. How much is it behind the 3DS?
It is so the way they have this listed is they have the Switch, they have all of the PS4 revisions, so the 4 and the Pro. They have all the versions of the 3DS, all the versions of the Vita, and all the versions of the Xbox One. Right now in Japan, the Xbox One is at total at 105K, which is not great. The Vita, which just technically ended, is very close to 6K. 3DS is about 24.5 million.
Yeah.
PlayStation 4 is right behind 8 million.
Woo!
And Nintendo Switch is right behind PS4's right behind 8 million.
Nice.
Yeah. So the thing is with Japan, they're very on the go. They're always moving, always working. So a handheld would definitely have more of a market there, and that's probably the whole reason that they made the Switch the way it is, probably for the Japanese market, because they were completely irrelevant there, aside from the 3DS. And they saw that consoles were going out of style, so they have to change with the times, provide a handheld that can play all their new games. And the thing is, I'm just really kind of surprised that it's caught on everywhere. Like, I didn't think the demand was there for a kind of device that you could use on the go, and honestly, that's pretty short-sighted in hindsight, because everyone's almost always on their phones. So having a similar device that's just geared towards playing all the new hottest video games doing well makes a lot of sense.
And it's great that it's doing well. This is peacetime. Thank God.
So let's get to Sakurai and the Famitsu thing, since our audience actually would care about that.
Sure. I don't know where... I'm looking on Push Dustin's Twitter account because he helped translate it into English, and I'm struggling to find where he actually posted it. Although I saw it so many times. You know what? I think I retweeted it, so I can take a look.
Keep looking for it, and I guess we'll talk about Switch sales. I think a lot of Japanese developers, basically Capcom, are still doing games that are catered primarily to the West. I feel like the new Monster Hunter was obviously a game that they wanted to do well in Japan. But they're like, if we can break through to that Western market, which they did, they're like, we can make a lot of money, which they did. But overall, I feel like the Switch's success is going to lead to more and more Japanese companies creating games, not necessarily with a Switch-first mentality, but with the mentality of we're going to need to be able to at least port this game to Switch. So I think Switch is going to get kind of an insane amount of Japanese support. Not that it's not already getting it, but I think it's going to increase for sure.
Yeah, that's how I always felt, because I was like, I feel like there's going to be more of a even back when the Switch was about to come out, and I wasn't even like, I was like, maybe the Switch won't actually do all that well, because that was what. It's weird how everyone initially started off the Switch going, this isn't going to do well, is it? But then now it has. It's doing very well.
Yeah.
But I even remember going like, well, I mean, at the very least, it'll probably sell better than the Xbox One will in Japan, and people and like Japanese developers will be more inclined to develop for that rather than the Xbox One. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that's what we've been. That has been the case, where it seems like the Japanese output for the Switch has been much greater and much more kind to the Switch than because Bandai Namco has been pretty much putting, I don't know, I want to say like 4 out of 7 games on the Switch, with the exception of like occasionally like a Jump Force or something will slip through the cracks.
I think the way that you put it just now was really a great way to put it, and that's that I think at the end of the day, the Switch is designed in a way that, at least for the Japanese market, it does its own things right with the American market as well, but that's unrelated.
Yeah.
It's convenient. It's very convenient for the consumers because people are always on the go in Japan, and it's also very convenient for developers as well because it's accommodating to them. It allows them to still create essentially the same type of game that they've always created, but now gives them a method to make that viable still, and they don't have to worry about having to completely change the way that they do things. That's part of why I think it's been a big success, especially among Japanese developers, as you just said.
Yeah.
I'm still like flabbergasted that they didn't do analog triggers. Like they did everything else that you need in a modern system.
I think it was just to keep the profile of the Joy-Cons down. But
yeah,
I get it.
They probably didn't want people to have to go out and buy like the Pro controller to use analog triggers or get a GameCube adapter to use analog triggers, even though you apparently can do that.
It's weird because there was like Laura Kate Dale and a bunch of other leakers had said that there was going to be analog triggers, and then like I was talking to Push about this, and I remember like he said back when the Switch was launching, there was like 7 people who said it was going to have analog triggers, and there was one person who said it didn't, and that one person ended up being right. And apparently it might be chalked up to something like it was possibly in the plans, like they had planned to do it, but then they just decided to keep the Switch like slimmer and just to go with digital triggers instead.
It would also be cheaper to just use digital triggers.
Yeah, because the thing is, those Joy-Cons, they put so much crap in that HD Rumble is actually a really impressive thing that's not used a lot, but it was just a very Nintendo thing that probably cost them a lot of money. And then it has the NFC reader, and so they had to cut something out. You know,
I would trade that Rumble that's never used for analog triggers.
Oh, 100%.
I haven't used it once. It's not happened on my controllers once on the Switch. There's nothing that's ever used it.
Well, things have used it. Just
for me,
they're not used impressively well. Like 1-2 Switch is still, and Mario Kart DX are like the most impressive uses of HD Rumble.
Well, apparently the new Dead or Alive beach volleyball.
Oh hell yeah! I gotta give that a try.
I was listening to someone talk about this. It has a new jiggle mode, which is very good. It's very sensual, and it's great for the young men and women of our society. But apparently you have to unlock it, so that's been a big problem for a lot of people I know. But a lot of people I know.
The only game that makes use of the Switch's full capabilities is Senran Kagura Reflections.
You know what's an interesting one. I don't know if you guys know, but I know Matt knows about this because I told him, and I also posted a link to it.
Who the hell is Matt?
ShadowLink.
I know. I just thought it would be funny to say.
Trials Rising for the Switch actually has 2 solutions to there not being analog triggers on the Switch. The first is use the right analog stick to control.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, use the right analog stick instead of using like holding down the trigger to a specific method, to a specific point. The other is that if you plug in the GameCube adapter, it actually recognizes the analog triggers of the GameCube controller, which is actually really fucking neat.
Yeah, it's so weird though that because for 2 reasons. One, a lot of racing games use the triggers.
Yeah.
I'm not big on racing games, but if that's your jam, it makes the Switch less appealing. And 2, Nintendo has a system that people have been wanting either a virtual console like service for or remakes of those games, with a couple games that use analog triggers heavily, but they don't include the analog triggers.
There's no light shielding and heavy shielding in Smash Bros. Anymore, which is very sad. They haven't actually been able to put that in since Melee, unfortunately. But you know what? That was never something I was good at, so I don't mind too much.
So I just included a link here to a My Nintendo News article on the Famitsu Awards. Posted actually by My Nintendo News staff member SSF1991, who was a former Source Gaming staff member.
Ooh,
hey, dude.
Oh, cool.
What's up? Yeah. So we have the list of games here. I'll see if I can find because Sakurai said something as well, right?
Oh yeah.
I'll see if I can find that, and you guys can start talking.
No, I've actually got the tweet right here.
Oh, okay. We'll start with that.
I could read that off.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's start there.
This is the translation by Push Dustin of the direct words of Sora Sakurai. Smash won Game of the Year at the Famitsu Award 2018. In addition, it won an Award of Excellence. I personally won the MVP award, and Kirby won the Character Award. Thank you to everyone who voted for Smash and supported me. He also gave a quote a little later on detailing the difficulties that he had developing Smash Ultimate, and he said the game, essentially what he said was, my troubles will go away, but the game is forever. And that's honestly something that I follow. That's like the quote, honest to God, the quote that I live by from him, because I love Sakurai so much. He's a good man, a great man for our nation. Well, and the Japanese nation.
Yeah, probably from the nation he's actually from, primarily,
He's created something of international appeal.
Yes. Yes, and I feel like that's a kind of a good motto. It's like, you put work into something, and the work you put in might be awful. It might hurt. It might be difficult, but no matter what it is, what you create is what stands.
Yes, it's important that even if you go through pain, you must sacrifice that personal luxury and put yourself and dedicate yourself towards something greater, which is creating a product, creating something that will unite people and that people will enjoy around the world.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Goddamn Japanese are invading our homes and brainwashing our children with their video games.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
They're burning our women and raping our churches.
So, on that note, let's go over what the Japanese Famitsu Awards were and how different they are from the video game awards.
You know what? Yeah, that's a good thing to point out.
Yeah, I think that would actually be kind of fascinating.
I'm surprised they gave Game of the Year to 2 games. It was a tie.
Right, neither of which were the Game of the Year this year at the Game Awards, which was God of War, which I said I liked a lot. But it was a split between Smash Bros. Ultimate and Monster Hunter World, which makes sense. Both great games. So
everyone in Japan, they love Monster Hunter.
Yeah, Monster Hunter's a Japanese institution. It's almost
very big.
I absolutely love that a bunch of people in chat caught on to the Whitest Kids You Know reference. Thumbs up to you guys. Fuck yeah, dudes.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, I noticed your own reference to temporary secretary recently, so don't think that that's snuck under my nose.
What reference? I flat out say the goddamn title of the song.
You said the goddamn title. You said the goddamn title of the song, but nobody would. Anyone listening, they'd be like, "Well, why would you point that out specifically?"
Because I'm an internet soldier. I follow Mega64, where a temporary secretary is.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. Oh, yeah. So real quick, let me actually go down this list.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Game of the Year, Smash Bros. / Monster Hunter. Excellence Award, Octopath Traveler, which wasn't even nominated, I think, for RPG in the Video Game Awards here in the West. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Fortnite, and Pokemon Let's Go. Fortnite, guys. Fortnite. Rookie Award goes to Octopath Traveler. Best Game Music Award goes to Octopath Traveler. Character of the Year goes to Kirby, who didn't really even do anything. I just think people like Kirby.
He just survived. That was the most important thing he did.
Yeah, that goes to Anvil's stupid tweet where he's all like, "No, we don't need any more Kirby characters in Smash. Japan loves Kirby, and everyone loves Kirby. He's a great character." Best Game Maker is Capcom, which I think is interesting. Capcom really has been stepping up their games recently.
Absolutely.
There's
God.
But what's funny is for a company that really made its bread and butter on fighting games for years, I feel like that's the one area now they're like
yeah, they're kind of struggling in that right now.
Yeah, they're all like, look, amazing Mega Man platformer, great new Devil May Cry game, genre-defining Monster Hunter game. Let's not talk about the Street Fighter and Marvel games.
Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. Devil May Cry is pretty much a fighting game.
And then MVP is Masahiro Sakurai for Smash.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't need to know why. I think the Best Game Music Award, I get that it goes to Octopath Traveler. It should have gone to Smash Bros, but honestly, that's an unfair competition.
Smash Bros has like
Every
one
video game
new
song ever
original
made.
composition, and that's
It has, yeah.
The main
it
theme,
has,
the theme this time around is pretty weak, honestly.
Smash winning
No!
for music
Oh,
is
dude,
like,
I actually
disagree.
really, really like this theme, so I don't know where you're coming from.
I
I
think
don't like this one, but I also didn't like the Wii U one. So
I think the Wii U one was cool. It sounded a lot similar to this one. Okay, by the way, first of all, there aren't one new it's not one new composition. There's two new compositions because they added the Electroplankton theme, and that was original. And second of all, I think that the theme on its own, like the Battlefield theme. By the way, I never knew this. The song that they use in the Everyone Is Here trailer, that specific rendition does not appear anywhere in the final game, which is really surprising to me.
that's like Breath of the Wild having its best song be Nintendo Switch Presentation 2017.
They put that in the game.
They did.
They put that in Smash Bros. It was it's funny, but when they at the end of the November Direct, I still remember like we've been listening to this song like, and now all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it has lyrics and it's got this amazing vocalization to it, and they're not only lyrics but they're actually like English lyrics and stuff like that. Like, wow, this is like a bold new step. And like, granted, in the grand scheme of things, it's not huge, but as someone who's a diehard Smash Bros. Fan, I was like, whoa, this is like insane. This is amazing. Oh, it's so good.
It doesn't really hold up as a song, especially in English.
I think
Yeah,
it's
but
good.
we're not talking
Good,
about
it's
the
great.
lyrics. The version with the lyrics, I'm not actually a big fan of, but I think the actual composition of the theme is great. I think it's a great.
Oh,
song.
absolutely.
It's better than the Wii U version, but I still don't think a theme is going to top Brawl's.
Oh, Brawls has the best. I gotta be honest. Maybe that's me being nostalgic, but Brawl is insane. Brawl had the best main theme. I think either maybe Smash 4 has the best Battlefield.
Brawl still has the
theme.
best overall soundtrack.
Has the best
yeah.
overall soundtrack. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
That's Final
let me tell you,
Destination.
the best
it
melody.
it doesn't have any Mega Man music. It doesn't have any Castlevania music.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
In fact, doesn't this contain every Brawl track pretty much?
It contains every Brawl track except for about half a dozen, which are the original versions from the original games, which got a new remix. And then there was one song that they took out, which I have no clue why they took out this song specifically. Ground Theme 2, which was originally in Mushroomy Kingdom, which I think is so weird.
Mushroomy Kingdom 2 isn't in the game. That's why.
No. There is no Mushroomy Kingdom 2. I'm talking about the Ground Theme 2 that was a remix that was used in Mushroomy Kingdom.
Right, but it was used in Mushroomy Kingdom because there was an underground version of that.
Oh no, this was for one of the above ground ones. It's a remix of the original Mario theme, but it's the non-piano one.
That's because nobody likes it.
I think it was fine. I think there are so many remixes of like the Mario, like basic Mario ground theme. Like I went through and in the new Smash Bros. Game, the My Music, they kind of dropped the ball on it because
absolutely, I hate the way it's organized now.
It's unfortunate, but I created they by default they have like one song on, and then they have a second song which has like 25% likelihood, and then there are these dozens and dozens and dozens of other songs which most people won't ever listen to. And I actually went out of my way and created like a whole giant spreadsheet. I spent like a week on this, making sure to like completely make sure all the songs were there and stuff like that. Because I remember doing that when I was a little kid with Brawl, and that was a lot of fun.
Smash Ultimate might be my game of the year. I really, really like Smash Ultimate. But there's a lot of weird design decisions in it. For instance, I like that they separate songs per franchise now, so that you can listen to anything on any stage. But that also means that those weird additions where they used to have
the other category.
Yeah, now instead
Now
of
there's
being able to
nowhere to
listen
go.
to a Golden Sun track on Norfair, where it kind of
Yeah,
makes
I was
sense,
about to bring that up. Yeah.
you have to listen to it, or all of the JRPG songs that used to be in Coliseum. Now you have to listen to it in other, and unfortunately, the majority of the other stages are like Tamagotchi Life and things where that music
Yeah.
really makes sense at all.
The only one that really fits
It's
is Find
Find
Me.
Yeah, maybe if they had a couple generic stages that were like, this is a castle or a desert or something, then that'd be fine.
I'm really, by the way, fingers crossed, I really hope that if they do Stage Builder, I hope they bring back some of the Brawl backgrounds. Oh, that would be so good. I would love that.
I think that they should just use a lot of the Omega backgrounds from different franchises. Hey, why not?
They could. That would be possible.
Yeah, that way it could actually be like you're making stages from games and not in some weird random city or whatnot.
I love a weird random city. You've got either inside of a giant-ass warehouse, in front of a volcano, inside of a cave, or you've got the sky. I really hope you enjoy these things.
I thought the Wii U stage builder was a lot better than the Brawl stage builder, but it also removed the... Dude, I will fight you on that, and I will tell you why. Because you could do so much interesting stuff. And because you could actually kind of adjust the blast zones, because you could select where the ending borders are. So you could create a walk-off stage, or you could create a stage by setting your items lower that has a very high ceiling, which you couldn't do in Brawl. And Brawl was block built, which means that you couldn't actually control how your stage, your actual layout of your stage was very, very limited. Because this was freeform, you could do almost anything. The problem was they removed all of the options from Brawl, because Brawl had so many good items. It had ice and spikes and conveyor belts and so much cool stuff. And what you need to do is you need to use the Wii U as a base and then add all the stuff from Brawl, and it would be so much better. Anyway,
I think that most people in a situation like that think on a grid, and that's what Brawl provided.
But the Wii U had the grid. Why are people such idiots? It had the grid because all you had to do, literally, dude, is it had dots. It went like graph paper, and if you created a line between two spots, it would create that line. So it was literally grid based.
It was still grid-based, but they took out all of the Brawl-centered resources that you had available.
That's what I was saying,
to give it the ability to make slopes. And personally...
What do you mean you can make slopes? You just have to create... It's grid-based. You make a diagonal line. You click...
Yeah.
You obviously did not use the Wii U Stage Builder a lot.
I didn't use it as much as a Brawl Stage Builder, I will admit that. But also, maybe it has more to do with me. I didn't really get as much out of everything being slope-based and more organic, because... I love playing on all the different stages, but even like when I'm playing on a bunch of different stages, I always feel uneasy when I'm on a slope, because I'm like, okay, how is this going to affect all of my attack? How is this going to affect all the hitboxes and everything like that? How is this going to affect everything, essentially?
But what I'm saying is, if you wanted to make a perfect block, or a series of perfect blocks, or perfect 45-degree slopes in the Wii U one, like... So if you turn on grid lines, there's a grid that goes like it's paper, right? Like graph paper. And if you click the corner of one and then click the corner of another one, it creates a completely straight line. It automatically finishes that line for you.
But that's
like, you don't have to draw it.
The thing is, that's all that you have. A lot of people think in terms of a grid as a baseline, and then they want to add stuff upon that. And those are the things that Brawl had, such as the spike blocks, the ice blocks.
It didn't have lava, though.
But
it didn't have the barrels.
The spikes are the same thing.
It didn't have barrels. Yeah, but then you're saying it doesn't have barrels. That's exactly. You're saying, and the barrels were super great. You're saying it didn't have spikes, and then I said it had lava, and you're like, well, it's the same thing. Then who cares? It's the same thing. You can't have it both ways.
Fellas,
yes, this is a really weird conversation.
It's time to wrap this up.
So anyways, I wanted to point out that in the Famitsu Game Awards, they're not talking about Red Dead Redemption, they're not talking about God of War, they're not talking about Spider-Man, and that's all at one frickin' awards.
Yeah.
Because people in different parts of the world have different tastes in video games. Except for Fortnite. Apparently, everybody plays Fortnite, and I don't.
It's universal.
Hey, you can play it on your phone or your Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really ought to... wrap this up because I gotta go do stuff. So
apparently, I'm very, very passionate about the Wii U Stage Builder. I'm sorry.
You really are.
I just sent
really
this.
are.
I sent this message to Colin with the attached image, and that's why he decided. Okay, let's stop.
I don't know where that came from, guys. I'm sorry.
So, I'd like to thank.
That's my trigger. My trigger is we use Smash Brothers Stage Builder.
I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today. I'd like to thank AShadowLink. I'd like to thank
you.
Wii U Stage Builder fan number 1, Spazzy. I'd like to thank JediSquidward, despite the fact he didn't play Mortal Kombat 11 at PAX.
That's okay. I don't mind.
I'd like to thank me for being the only one with gall to host this.
I was gonna ask if you wanted me to host it earlier,
I'll do it.
But then I realized you'd probably get angry at me because I'll just put Devil May Cry music on.
Yeah, it's not great. And then I'd like to thank the one super chat donation that we got to keep them
Thank
coming.
you, everyone in the chat.
I dig it. And you know what? Super chat donation. I'll go. I'll go ask. I don't remember who was it. Some leaker dude. YouTube. Papagino. I'll see if we can get Papagino on something at some point.
And as always, Duke of Dorks, super
The
patron.
Dukiest of Dorks.
You know who you are. You know what you've done. It's such an ominous way of putting it. But
yeah. By the way, everybody, time to be shameless. I have a Twitter. Twitter.com, JediSquidward.
Links down
everything.
below.
Yeah, of course.
Follow
Everything
me
is
on
JediSquidward. I've got an Instagram too. That's JediSquidward. Please, if you look at my Twitter, I would love to get together and play Smash Bros. So add me as a friend online. I play Rob and I play Snake. Not Mario Party. I only own Smash Bros.
That's the only game I play.
He owns on the Switch.
It's the only one. I played Mario Odyssey and I played the NES one and I played YouTube and that is it.
I played YouTube. I'm really good at YouTube, man.
I'm gonna go shower and play Paladin. See you later. Have a good morning.
Wait.
Oh.
Did you already cut the stream?
No, not yet. Go.
Okay.
Say it. You
Tonight.
got 1 minute.
Tonight.
Oh yeah,
Greatest
tonight.
Attorney.
Ace the Greatest Attorney.
We'll be back. We'll be back later.
Ah.
Whoa.
Bye bye.